is alongside, as he didn't like the formal introduction earlier, our king of contrived fun.
Thank you, Mark. Don't need a QR code for Sussex by the Sea. The music drops out, we go a cappella. The Arsenal players in the red and white kits way down beneath us on the pitch. We're right up at the top of the West Stand for this 5 Live commentary this evening, have just broken away from their team huddle. And let's remind Mark Chapman of how league football works, Rob, and this Premier League table at the start of tonight. Manchester City have played 1 game fewer. They are 5 points behind Arsenal. Both teams kick off at the same time. Arsenal on 64 points, Manchester City on 59. Manchester City have won plenty of Premier League titles under Pep Guardiola in recent years. What's so fascinating about watching Arsenal step by step, game by game, is that weight of history, the fact they've not done it for so long, and how they handle the pressure.
It's been coming, hasn't it? It's been coming since about September, since they hit the front, and it's coming again tonight. That weight of expectation is here. Brighton have no expectation, really. They're just going to go for it, lacking experience in the side, and lacking a little bit of maybe knowledge and know-how of how to play against the likes of Arsenal. But what they have got, fresh legs and an abundance of freedom.
So we're underway. Arsenal playing from right to left in this first half with the away fans behind them. They've given the ball away to Karu Matoma. He's received the return pass from Ruter. Lofted cross in towards the far post. Clears everyone. Bounces just inside the Arsenal penalty area. And Hincapié gets a left boot to the ball and hooks it away. Martinelli thinks he's kept that in. He hasn't. So that will be a throw into Brighton. The 2 changes for Arsenal for this game. From the lineup, from the team that beat Chelsea 2-1 at the Emirates Stadium on Sunday. William Saliba turned his ankle late in that game, was able to finish the game, said Mikel Arteta, but not involved tonight. So 21-year-old Christian Mosquera, signed from Valencia in the summer, starts in the centre of defence alongside Gabriel. And Martinelli, I've already mentioned him, comes in for Trossard on the left. You were talking about it, Rob, in terms of this Brighton team, just the experience for a game like this. And I know Brighton are sitting on 37 points, and so there's obviously less on it for them. But Dunk not involved at all tonight. We'll have to find out why that is. Milner and Welbeck on the bench. Yeah,
and you're looking at the 11 that they've got on the pitch, and we think they've counted through 14 goals in the Premier League so far this season between the 11. So there's not an abundance of threat in there. Interesting to see how they line up, and they've obviously gone with the back four. Ruter's centre-forward, or nominated centre-forward, very rarely plays there up there against the centre-halves. I think that'll suit them, really. Hinchelwood's one that I want to watch, and just how he drifts down this right-hand side and up and down. So it's a work in progress for them.
Right, Arsenal are giving the ball away. Here's a scooped finish, and Gabriel's back to head it away and nods it behind for the corner. And Brighton very nearly take the lead. Carlos Baleba, in his bright orange boots, went for the fancy finish, didn't quite get enough on it, and that will go behind for a Brighton corner. Quickly to Craven Cottage, John Southall.
Fulham 0, West Ham 0. Chance for West Ham in the opening minute. Castellanos 16 yards out, saved by Leno to his right-hand side, 0-0.
Right, Brighton corner coming. Rob Green, what about the chance?
That was a horrible pass by David Raya. Lack of pace, lack of anything. Baleba through, he was stranded. Gabriel did brilliantly just to get back and save it. Big chance early on.
Nervy start for Arsenal. Great noise here at the top of the West Stand, surrounded by the Brighton fans in the blue and white. Deep corner towards the Arsenal far post. Van Hecke jumps, he's beaten in the air. Ball drops in the Arsenal right back position. Saka is wrestling for it. Van Hecke wide on the left. Knocks it up high in the air. That is clumsy from Gabriel. But he's managed to regain his footing and cleared the ball away. And Arsenal bring it down the right-hand side. Now, I've been given an instruction to go somewhere. I didn't hear where we're going next. To Villa Park and Julia Bold.
Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 0. A mix-up at the back for Chelsea. Douglas Luiz, centre of goal, slotted it home. Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 0.
Aston Villa starting the night in 4th, level on points with Manchester United. They kick off at 8:15. Commentary of that game will start on Sports Extra 3. We'll then pick it up here on 5 Live. I'm aware I need to get you through the 2 starting 11s as well, just in case you've only just joined us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. But some shaky moments for Arsenal, Rob Green, in the opening minutes here.
Yeah, they're trying to play out from the back, and Mosquera, Raya, they've not been on their own in there. They're giving it away cheaply and easily, and Brighton have been on the front foot from the start.
No Lewis Dunk. Boscagli is in his place. He beats Gyökeres to that clearance easily and then floats a pass forward, absolutely harmless, bounces once, and David Raya comes out to the edge of the box to collect. Verbruggen in goal for Brighton, Vifa Van Hecke, Boscagli in for Dunk, and Kadioglu the back four. Beleba and Pascal Gross in midfield. Diego Gomez has scored 2 in the last 2 games in the wins against Brentford and Nottingham Forest. Jack Hinchelwood and Kaoru Mitoma on the left. Jorginho Rutter in the centre-forward position, but he and Hinchelwood seem to be fairly fluid and interchangeable there. Arsenal have it just inside their own half. Nketiah down the line for Martinelli. Slight touch on the pass from Gomez. Goes out for a throw-in to Arsenal. Raya in goal. Timber, Mosquera in for Saliba, Gabriel and Nketiah. Zubimendi and Rice. Saka, Eza, Martinelli. And Gyökeres as the centre-forward. No Odegaard again for Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal just trying to work this out. They're not quite sure. Declan Rice has had to drop into the back line when they're on the ball. But Brighton have quite fluid in their formation when they're out of possession as well. So they're not quite sure where the space is.
Eza's first time ball. The offside flag stays down. Saka's been released. Cross right across the face of the Brighton goal. Martinelli couldn't get onto the end of that. Zubimendi will chase it. Sliding challenge from Diego Gomez. And immediately roars to the Brighton fans to get them involved in the action. So 5 minutes gone in the first half here at the Amex, and it's Brighton 0, Arsenal 0.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that Brighton were fluid in formation. Well, Eza just worked it out. He'd just gone, OK, if you take a step to one side, I'm going to step in off the centre and into the inside left. And all of a sudden had that space.
Brighton fans getting onto Arsenal here. It took Nketiah a while to deliver that throw. It's been headed away only as far as Eza. Nods it to his left to Rice. He was a slight injury concern. Came off with 20 minutes to play against Chelsea on Sunday, but able to start this game again. Gabriel's passed the ball straight out of play. The Brighton fans are up for this, as you can hear. And actually commentating from this position, Rob, I believe this is your first radio commentary here at the Amex, which surprised me.
Yeah, we're up in the rafters here, aren't we? And it's a good vantage point, something that I didn't think really we got at the Amex.
No, and it makes you realise actually how big the stadium is, because when you're lower down, you can't see, or you don't necessarily turn and see all the seats above you. But this West Stand really towers over the pitch here. Free kick given against Gyökeres. That's a challenge on Vifa. So Brighton get a free kick in the right back position. Manchester City, Nottingham Forest underway. Commentary on Sports Extra 0-0. Villa have taken the early lead against Chelsea. Commentary on Sports Extra 2 tonight. Fulham and West Ham goalless. That commentary on the BBC Sport website and app. Right, Brighton free kick from the right back position. Bart Verbruggen, all in yellow. I don't think I've ever asked you, Rob, what your favourite goalkeeping kit you ever wore is. So I'm gonna ask you that when we get a break in play. I'm sure our listeners will be absolutely fascinated to learn that. Here's Rutter, central position, 30 yards out. That's a nice ball to the left. Kadioglu tries to cross, deflected, and it spins back to David Raya, who comes scurrying across the dead ball line to make sure it doesn't go out for a corner.
Well, even more interestingly, Ali, I used to get to choose the colours at the end of one season, what was going to be the next one. I rotated between black and grey every season.
Oh, right. That's quite dull, Rob.
Yep, that was me. Very dull.
The ball is back with David Raya. He's all in green, the Arsenal keeper tonight, and made one stunning save. Made some important saves in the game against Chelsea on Sunday, but one stunner right at the end of the game to prevent Garnacho's cross from that left wing, just drifting into the far corner of his net. Early update from Manchester City then against Nottingham Forest. John Bennett.
It's 0-0, but the first opening of the night for Antoine Semenyo. His shot hitting the side netting. Forest had 2 half chances in the opening minute. Anderson with a shot blocked. Gibbs White with a header straight at the keeper. 0-0.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra. Villa 1, Chelsea 0. Do not miss the game tomorrow night. Jonathan Pearce and Glenn Murray with the commentary of Tottenham Hotspur at home against Crystal Palace. Rutter's first time ball on the volley. He's gone out of play for a throw-in to Arsenal. That ball was travelling towards Nketiah. The boss, Arteta's actually got in the way, which has slowed things down slightly. 8 minutes played, 0-0, no real chances. Throw in towards Zubimendi, back to Nketiah. Tries to knock it past Gomez and he's tackled. Rutter gets on the ball, blocked with an arm it looked like by Nketiah, but play continues. Eza moves it out to the right to Timber's got a lot of space to run into here in the inside right channel. Speeds forward 30 yards, gives it to Saka, drops the shoulder onto the left foot, whips that in, right through the keeper for Verbruggen. It was like he didn't see it, and from up here it seemed like it's gone through his legs. Bukayo Saka before tonight had only scored 1 goal in his last 18, but when you get a bit of luck like that, he'll be very grateful for it. Big goal for Arsenal. Brighton 0, Arsenal 1, Verbruggen befuddled.
It's a gift. It's a gift from the keeper. I'm not sure the Arsenal players have even celebrated, because it seems like a harmless shot just going through to him. Mitoma had tucked in from the right to try and help on out with the Brighton play, and then left that space for Timber to go into. He lays it out to Saka, and from there he steps inside, and you're thinking, okay, have a go. You're 18 yards out on the angle, and he just completely misreads it. He's down by his right foot from 20 yards. There's a little nick, a little bit of a deflection. Not enough to say that he shouldn't have saved it, but from there, I think there's absolutely zero pace on it whatsoever. It's a little deflection, and that's enough to beat Verbruggen.
Yeah. He's stooping down Verbruggen. It takes a deflection off Belabor. Saka just shrugs in the celebrations. Took a chance, bought a ticket, and he's won the prize with the early goal for Arsenal. And as Verbruggen is trying to get down, there's just a little gap between his legs, and the ball has squirmed through there at pace and ended up in the back of the net. So Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. That will calm a few Arsenal nerves.
You're thinking they had a jittery start, didn't they? And we're 10 minutes in now, and you're thinking that was the first real attack of any sort of note where they'd actually got numbers forward, players forward in an area where they thought they could attack. They had Saka down the right before, where they had a cross to no one, but that was it, cutting in to get a clear shot on goal. But I think is it Saka hit it, he'd have thought, oh no, that's poor.
Yeah, it was heading, well, it looked like it was heading straight for Verbruggen, and he had it covered. He just couldn't readjust in time. Saka looking to whip that one right across to the far corner. Arsenal will take their luck. Mitoma into the Arsenal area, shoots, sliding block is fabulous from Gabriel, and the ball will spin behind for a corner. Before that corner, back to Villa Park, Julia Bold.
1, Chelsea 0. João Pedro had a chance to equalise, though. A header, close range, headed it down, saved by Emi Martinez. Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 0.
Christian Mosquera has also gone in the book here for a challenge moments ago as we were talking, just before that Brighton attack, which led to the Mitoma strike and the Gabriel block. So Arsenal 1-0 up here at Brighton. Still Manchester City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Table as it stands, that would put Arsenal 7 points clear of Manchester City, but obviously nothing counts until the final whistle is blown. Villa leading Chelsea 1-0. Fulham and West Ham is still goalless, and Brighton taking their time here over setting up for this corner.
Thomas isn't just getting up and hobbling back to the edge of the area.
That was the sliding block on the shot by Gabriel, and Mitoma, yeah, quite right. Still in a bit of discomfort there, sort of out of play here, lurking on the edge of the penalty area. Gross's delivery into the near post, flicked on by Gomez, high looping header, lands on the roof of the net, which is striped blue and white. Like the Brighton shirts this evening, which have a tiny, thin red trim either side of every single blue and white stripe. Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Fulham West Ham latest comes from John Southall.
Fulham 0, West Ham 0. First opportunity for Fulham. Josh King right of the area. First time shot, 12 yards out wide of the left-hand post. Good opportunity that. Fulham 0, West Ham 0.
David Raya clears with his left foot. Arsenal leading by a goal to 0. Eza's first time ball straight down the middle, looking for Martinelli. Is nearly able to take that past Boscagli, but Brighton have dealt with that. Belabor, it was he who got the unfortunate touch on the Saka shot, which deceived Verbruggen. Zubamendi's taken too long. Brighton have taken it off him, and suddenly Rutter is motoring across the halfway line. Zubamendi comes hurtling back to try and make amends for Arsenal. The ball goes wide to Gomez on the right. Back it comes here to Gross. Gross is closed down by Rice, and Arsenal have forced Brighton back into their own half. 13 minutes played, Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Rob Green.
Yeah, you get your feeling that neither team's going to have to work very hard to get a chance here. 2 or 3 passes at times and you're through. Arsenal very much, Brighton pushing in and trying to force the issue, which I'm surprised about, that you're thinking, well, maybe conceding the goal, but they're quite fluid, they're quite open. Arsenal, if they get it right, 2 or 3 passes and they're in.
2 games already between these 2 teams this season, both at the Emirates. Arsenal won 2-0 in the League Cup in October. Goals from Ethan Waneri and Bukayo Saka scored that night as well. And then at the end of the year in December, just after Christmas, Arsenal won 2-1 in the Premier League. Ruter's own goal, I remember I was at that game, was from one of those classic Arsenal corners. Declan Rice whipping one into the near post. He got the glancing header and he sent it past his own goalkeeper. Every time Arsenal set up for a throw-in or a goal kick, Brighton fans are right on top of them. You heard the reaction, probably reacting to what Fabian Hürzeler, their manager, said during the week. Arsenal are trying to play out from the back here. Ball to Rice. Rice really fizzes that to Timber on his right. Mosquera hoists it up towards the halfway line. Becomes a 50-50. Hincapié brings it down, but Baleba speeds to the ball in front of him, holds Hincapié off, plays it back towards the halfway line. Bascagli is there and feeds it here to Kadioglu. Mitoma was hobbling a couple of minutes ago. Seems okay here. Starts a little dribble. Low pass into the feet of Kadioglu. Cross will come from deep from Gross towards the far post on the right. Gomez chests it down, lays it back to Van Hecke. Nearly delivered a right-footed cross, then plays a short ball into the edge of the penalty area. Vifa's got his back to goal and plays it back here to Bascagli. But this is nice build-up play from Brighton, moving Arsenal around. Mitoma's on the ball again, corner of the Arsenal box, outside of his right foot. Cross comes in. Rice jumps with Hinshelwood. The ball goes straight up in the air. Gomez tries to chest it down. It runs away from him, and Timber clears with his right foot.
Yeah, muted appeals for a penalty there as Gabriel had both arms around Ruter, but won the header. So I think realistically had gotten away with the contact that he made. But Brighton playing the confident football. They're the ones with more style and a bit more assuredness on the ball.
Vifa's header into that Arsenal penalty area is cleared on the half volley by Gabriel. Van Hecke leaps, tries to cushion a little side-footed volley pass down to Vifa in front of him. Can't keep it in play. Manager Fabian Hürzeler in the long, thick, padded blue coat. In a glorious afternoon here on the south coast when I arrived. Made that walk from the car park past the train station and up to the ground. Bright blue skies, sparkling sunshine. Temperatures dropping now, though, in early March. And Arsenal atop the Premier League, having won their last two league games, are 1-0 up here early on against Brighton. Saka's deflected shot fizzing through the legs of Bart Verbruggen. Arsenal are playing it around inside their own penalty area. Gabriel is able to bring the ball forward. Declan Rice is 7 yards to his right, quickly into the feet of Zubamendi, turns 10 yards short of the halfway line, and it's a low ball across to Gabriel, who looks to his left, goes short to his right to Rice. Rice pings the left to right diagonal. Kadioglu leaps and heads it away. Mitoma flicks it up in the air, turns into Timber. He's blocked by the Dutchman and wins Brighton the free kick.
Yeah, he's a clever player, isn't he, Mitoma? Nice little touch and just done for Timber, really. But Arsenal are struggling to find the extra man. So when they're getting the ball, they're trying to look in and it's not there yet. It's not fluid. They don't know where the extra man is. So they're hitting a lot of rangy passes that they're trying to find someone, because they can see it's a 3v3 or a 3v4. Brighton have got an extra man pretty much wherever they will look at the moment.
Vifa's ball back to the halfway line to Van Hecke. Van Hecke sweeps it to his right to Ruter. Ruter brings it infield away from Hincapié. Baleba's involved. First time ball to Gomez with the jet black hair. Side foots it to Bascagli. Bascagli out to the left this time to the Turkish international Kadioglu. He plays with the long sleeves. Blue socks rolled down to the ankles. Bascagli to Hinshelwood, couldn't control it. Comes back to Kadioglu, into Ruter, turns it back to Kadioglu. Might fall for Ruter with the right-footed shot. Block again, and behind it goes for a corner. Some desperate defending from Arsenal, and Gabriel's taken a knock.
I was actually tracking his run, and it's brilliant football from Brighton. A give and go in there, and he just, in laying it off to Ruter, slides across on his knees and actually does a really good job in defending the strike. But it's really bright and intuitive play from Brighton, and they've already lost Saliba and Gabriel's struggling.
Yeah, Kadioglu with the block, so therefore an Arsenal goal kick, not a corner. Arsenal players were sliding in. Kadioglu did their job for them. He just couldn't get out of the way, was trying to do that. Ruter's strike could have caused problems, but sometimes I've been here this season and Brighton can look a bit stodgy, and the build-up can be good to the final third, and they can look less threatening. They look okay so far in that.
Well, that was the left-back making a give and go with the centre-forward, so that's where they are right now. The movement, the players they have, the options, the little passes they're making, it's really good stuff.
Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 0. Manchester City trying to chase Arsenal down at home against Nottingham Forest this evening. John Bennett's watching this one.
It's 0-0. Man City being frustrated. Forest looking really solid with their new formation, 3 at the back, although Bernardo Silva just had a shot straight at the goalkeeper. Man City 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
Brighton have taken a throw. They're being forced back into their own half by some Bukayo Saka pressing. Strong challenge on Gross, and Gross is furious that the ball came to him too late, which allowed Saka to make the tackle. He was fouled, has picked himself up. Brighton have taken their free kick, and they're moving the ball across the halfway line. Van Hecker to his left to Boscagli, back to Van Hecker again. Rolls the ball under the studs of his right boot a couple of times. Arsenal stand off him just inside the Arsenal half. Pass to his right to Gomez, into the midfield to Baleba, tackled by Eza. Ball comes off his right foot and goes out for a Brighton throw right under the nose of the boss, Fabian Hürzeler, who turned 33 at the end of last month. And the throw in from Vifa down the line is flicked on by Rutes, covered by Mosquera, scrapes it away with his left foot. Hincapié lobs it forward. Van Hecker's got a right handful of Gyökeres's shirt. Play continues. Van Hecker lobs the ball to the left. Timber senses an opportunity. Kadioglu gets there just in time. Passes it behind Boscagli, who goes back to his keeper Verbruggen. Calmly clears with his left foot. Rice heads it forward. Headed away again by Boscagli. Chested down by Hinshelwood, who then lobs a pass out to the right, and Vifa does well to bring it down and find Gomez. Gomez lays it back to Gross. Curling pass down the right-hand side, bounces in front of Hinshelwood. Gabriel comes across him, in front of him, clears away, throw in Brighton.
Yeah, Hinshelwood's looking bright. He's got a free roll, but the energy that he's got going back into midfield, then driving forwards again, is causing problems.
Taking their throw in quickly, Brighton. Pascal Gross is making a dart for the penalty area there, then goes back to the right to Vifa. Comes across the Arsenal half. Boscagli to Kadioglu. Kadioglu again, well forward here, inside left position. Little layoff back to Baleba. Kadioglu's making the run. Baleba tries the curler. That is miles off target. Nearly cleared the Arsenal fans. Behind that goal away to our right, Brighton 0, Arsenal 1.
Yeah, frustration for Fabian Hürzeler. He's there looking and thinking, we're playing well, just keep the ball, and it doesn't have to happen every time. Players can make runs, and it's just not there. And no need to shoot from that sort of distance. That's a once every 5 season job.
Yeah, yet to score this season. Carlos Baleba has been in and out of the team. There was obviously talk of a move at the start of the season. There's been questions at times as to whether the attitude has been quite right. 4 goals he scored last season, 3 of those in the Premier League. Nowhere near scoring tonight, and Brighton need a goal to get back in the game. That's what Manchester City fans want to happen. Manchester City fans also need their team to get ahead against Nottingham Forest tonight. Let's not forget the two meet each other. Well, they first of all meet each other in the League Cup final, Sunday, March the 22nd. Play each other in the Premier League on April the 18th. Could still play each other in the FA Cup final. Could still play each other in the Champions League final as well, which could be a crazy end to the season if it goes like that.
Even they'll get bored of each other by then, wouldn't they?
Right, free kick Arsenal, which again, as you can hear, brings the catcalls and the jeers and the boos and the whistles. Declan Rice will take it. It's 40 yards from goal, and then he just knocks it short along the floor to Eza. Eza zips it across the floor to Saka on the right. This is where the goal came from. This is why Saka's dangerous. This time he goes on the outside rather than the inside. Brighton double team him. Gross makes the tackle, clears with his left foot. That goes out of play. Throw in for Arsenal just inside the Brighton half on the right, and they still lead Brighton by a goal to 0.
Yeah, it's a strange decision by Saka that he's up against 2, but he still had time to make the cross and had all the players in the penalty area, decided not to do it. Just looking then, Zubimendi straight off his shin from a throw-in, put it off, and it's not been fluid, has it, at all?
Match of the day tonight. We'll have all the Premier League goals from this week. BBC One 10:40. Full commentary on 5 Live here tomorrow night with Spurs against Crystal Palace, and then we're into FA Cup 5th round action on Friday night. First tie to get us underway, a repeat of the game at Molineux last night, which burst into life in the last 15 minutes. That's Wolves against Liverpool. Gabriel heads the ball into the Brighton half. Martinelli gets there first. Back to Rice. Rice to Hincapié, right on the halfway line here. Thinks about playing it forward, decides not to. Martinelli's frustrated, and Arsenal play across their own half to Mosquera, who's making a 6th Premier League start for Arsenal this season and has been very dependable so far when he's been called upon. We're midway through the first half, still the only goals in the Premier League this evening. Here at Brighton, Saka's deflected strike going through the legs of Verbruggen, and the 2nd minute goal for Douglas Luiz, which has Aston Villa leading Chelsea 1-0, Fulham 0, West Ham 0, Manchester City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Rice comes bouncing forward with the ball at his feet. Rob.
Yeah, Avarichez has just had to drift to basically the right back position to try and get involved with the play. He's just really struggling to get involved. He's the extra man. Brighton are basically ignoring him and saying, we're just going to hold our shape. You can drift where you want, and he's struggling to find that space and the angles to receive the pass. So at the moment, that's where Arsenal are really, despite leading, are struggling on the ball.
Verbruggen to Boscagli, pass up the middle of the pitch here is controlled by Rute. He's stumbling backwards into Gabriel there as he went to control it and went to ground. He's won the free kick, push and shove between Gabriel and Rute. Brighton took the free kick, it hit their own man. They think Gabriel wasn't 10 yards. That was because he was continuing the conversation with Rute, but I think the free kick actually hit Rute in the back, and that's why Arsenal are able to build an attack. That's a short pass from Rice, didn't have enough on it to find Martinelli, and the ball is back with Rice on the halfway line.
Yeah, strange, wasn't it? I think they were trying to just hit Gabriel with the ball. It wasn't going to go anywhere and managed to miss him. But in that, Arsenal retrieve the ball and again give it away with a slow pass, with a pass that wasn't crisp. And when you're approaching that final third, you've got to have it so on point, and it isn't.
Mosquera. Arsenal playing from right to left here at the Amex Stadium in the first half. Red shirts, white sleeves, white shorts. Timbers tripped. As it stands, leading 1-0. Table as it stands has them 7 points clear of their closest challengers, Manchester City. John Bennett watching them against Nottingham Forest.
Manchester City 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Big chance for Forest. Space to run into for Nicholas Dominguez. Picked out Gibbs White, tight angle straight at the goalkeeper. Man City 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
So we're waiting for Arsenal to take a free kick. What have you spotted down on the touchline there, Rob? Mikel Arteta in...
Herzl having their first little flash point. You're wondering whether that might kick off after Herzl's comments yesterday, but that's the first moment where he's pointing the finger.
Arsenal's discipline on the field has been impeccable this season. It has cost them down the years in the Premier League. They've really tightened it up this season. The one person who's in danger of a suspension if he gets a yellow card tonight is Mikel Arteta, because he's on 2 yellow cards. But the comparison we were drawing with Chelsea, who had another man sent off at the Emirates Stadium on Sunday, with Arsenal, and Arsenal really have improved that vastly this season. They've taken their free kick. The game has lost a little bit of rhythm. Arsenal still leading 1-0 from the early Saka goal. It came in the 9th minute. Timbers playing the ball back to Raya. Raya is 10 yards outside his penalty area. Long arcing pass left to right. Saka chases, headed away by Kadioglu. Throw in for Arsenal. Taken quickly. Gyökeres brings it down. Side puts a pass, looks for Martinelli. It doesn't reach him. Vipa is there. And Vipa's going to play this down the right, and Gomez is expecting that. And Gomez wants to take on Hincapié. Hincapié is winning that all day long and ships the ball back to his keeper.
Yeah, that wasn't a contest, was it? Hincapié really good. But that free kick before, to go back to it, Declan Rice standing on the ball, wonderful delivery. We've seen it all before, 40 yards out. Within 2 passes, they're back with David Raya. It's something that isn't quite there at the minute, whether it's under instruction to kill the game, you 1-0 up, don't go and attack, I don't know, but after all that chat of attack and the set pieces, it's not been there.
Right, here come Arsenal, sweeping move down the right. Timber receives it from Mosquera. Brighton trying to quickly get back into defensive positions. 27 minutes gone in the first half. You're listening on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Manchester City, Nottingham Forest over on Sports Extra 0-0. Martinelli tries to take it past Gomez. Clumsy challenge from Gomez. Free kick for Arsenal. Don't think it'll be a yellow card, but Arsenal will love where the free kick is, because it's 7-8 yards in from the left-hand touchline level with the penalty spot. They can cause absolute mayhem from here.
Well, that was a tackle from someone who didn't really want to defend, and I'm not sure if he's going to keep doing that. Martinelli's just going to keep on taking him on, just get the ball to him, because much like it was against Hincapié, that was a mismatch. Gomez just not wanting to take a backward step, rather bring him down, regardless of the threat that Arsenal obviously hold. I don't think this is going to be back with David Raya within 2 passes. Declan
Rice provided the assist from the corner for the winner, Julian Timbers' winner. against Chelsea on Sunday. Puts his left hand through those flowing locks. Stands with the left foot in front of the right, like a statue here. Waits for the whistle to blow. Martinelli's close to him on the edge of the area. Rice curls it in and over the crossbar. Rare poor delivery from Declan Rice, because no one could get ahead on that, and it was never testing Verbruggen.
Yeah, you could see what he was doing, though. Everyone's trying to get into the line of Verbruggen and then just fire it over the heads at the keeper, and maybe another nick in there, but you're going to do well to head that when it's 12 feet in the air.
Rob Green, former England goalkeeper, with us here at the Amex Stadium. I saw people making the point after the game at the weekend, Rob, in terms of the World Cup coming this summer. Reece James, corner delivery. Declan Rice, corner delivery. Saka, corner delivery. England will be dangerous on the set pieces.
Yeah, and FIFA will change the rules of the corner.
Ball is headed forward to the halfway line. Great leap from Saka, flicks it on, couldn't find Gyökeres. Gyökeres hasn't really been in the game, might get a chance now, has to get himself back on side, accidentally collided with Kadioglu there. Kadioglu goes down as the pass was played, and that will be a free kick to Brighton. Half an hour played. Brighton 0, Arsenal 1, Villa 1, Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Fulham 0, West Ham 0.
I think both managers will be happy. Arteta will say, well, we're winning, we don't mind, and Arteta will say, well, we're playing actually some really good football and looking proactive, and players have got our answers.
Free kick given for Brighton here, just inside the Arsenal half. That was Mosquera on Ruter, and that is why the Brighton players are complaining, because he's already on a yellow card. Now then, big news comes from the Etihad Stadium. There's been a goal. John Bennett.
Breakthrough from Manchester City. Great work from Ryan Cherki. Quick feet on the right-hand side. Crossed it into Antoine Semenyo. Fine finish on the volley. Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Antoine Semenyo does it again. Was having a brilliant season for Bournemouth. Has just picked up and flown into his career at Manchester City. So that will keep the gap at 5 points this evening if both Arsenal and Manchester City win. Cross comes into that Arsenal box. Awkward. Gabriel dealt with that well. Had to stoop, hit his body, heads it away. Arsenal trying to get it clear with Rice now. Ball with the left foot on the half volley. Chased by Martinelli here. Eventually gives up the ghost because Vifa is there and gets it back to Verbruggen.
Yeah, really good from Vifa. And he's recognised that Martinelli was in front of him even when they were still in the Arsenal half, and he was through on goal. So he actually pulled him back. He pulled him back before even Declan Rice had played the ball. So then he got the upper hand and then played the ball. So cute play, should we say, from Vifa.
Right, who's that that's gone down for Arsenal? Brighton have actually won the free kick.
Zubimendi.
And Zubimendi is down. I think he made the challenge. So is this one of those where he knows he's the guilty party? So he's just, I'm not saying making out that he's been hurt. He may have been hurt in the challenge as well. He comes through the back of Ruter. Ruter's been doing a good job actually for Brighton so far, holding the ball up in that position.
Yeah, he comes very deep, and it's not uncommon. He did it at Leeds. His favourite role is to step into that sort of inside left role to get it to feet and wanting to turn, and it actually gives the opportunity for other players to run in behind, and you're not going to have that fight with Mosquera and Gabriel where you're up against them. It's more coming into your feet, so it kind of suits him in that way. A bit like Igor Thiago, not such a big target man.
That's Rob Green here at the Amex. Bukayo Saka is last over to join the Arsenal team huddle. They're taking instructions from Mikel Arteta. Refreshment on board as well. Fabian Hertzler has 4 or 5 of his Brighton players around him. Martin Zubimendi continues to receive treatment. Let's get around the grounds while we wait for this game to get back underway. So here it's Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. What about Fulham West Ham? John Southall.
It's still Fulham 0, West Ham 0. Jared Bowen on the right of the area smashed a shot horribly wide, which is unlike him. Had a VAR check as well for an Iwobi handball, but clearly came off his shoulder. Fulham 0, West Ham 0.
Villa Park next. Villa Chelsea being watched by Julia Bold.
Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 0. Both sides had a chance to score. Cole Palmer from the edge of the D. Martinez had to jump left to push it wide. Ollie Watkins had a shot to go 2 up. That's been punched away by Jurgensen. Still Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 0.
Underway at Pittodrie in the Scottish Premiership. So still Celtic starting this evening. Game in hand on Hearts at the top. 8 points behind the leaders, away to Aberdeen. Let's get to Pittodrie.
Yeah, 4 minutes gone. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. One change to Celtic's lineup. Just late on, Dane Murray got an injury in the warm-up, so Benjamin Arthur on loan from Brentford makes his first start for Celtic. 0-0 at Pittodrie.
Ball across the halfway line to Van Hecker. We're back underway. Zubimendi is waiting to get back on the field. Next break in play. We'll take you back to Manchester City. Just to remind you, Semenyo has scored though. Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Here's Matoma outside of his right foot. Plays it here to Van Hecker. Van Hecker, middle of the Arsenal half, gives it back to Boscagli. Boscagli to Van Hecker. Van Hecker's going to get this cross into the Arsenal box, headed wide by Hinshelwood, I think, who was on the penalty spot there. It goes behind for the Arsenal goal kick. Back to Aberdeen, Kenny Crawford.
5 minutes gone, Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1. Corner came in and there was Kieran Tierney inside the 6-yard box, his second goal in 2 games to make it Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1.
Thank you, Kenny. 11 minutes remaining in the first half here. So Celtic win would take them to 58. They'd be 5 points behind Hearts. They'd be a point above Rangers. They would have played the same games as those two. Motherwell will have the game in hand. Chris Sutton keeps telling me Motherwell are playing the best football in Britain at the moment, apparently, Rob. So
I believe him.
They must. Well, so do I. Chris Sutton on the FPL pod from BBC Sport. I'll tell you about that in a second. Hincapié moves in and takes the ball away from Vifa. Was called vanilla, was described as vanilla. I've never heard Chris Sutton described as vanilla, but our guest Gianni Bottice, who is an FPL expert, said Chris Sutton's fantasy football team was a bit vanilla.
Yeah, tactically he's always been a bit dull, hasn't he?
Latest FPL pod from BBC Sport, if you're into your fantasy football, is there on the BBC Sounds app. And I know Mark Chapman loves his commentator's view. That is there for you every Friday as well. John Hunt is going to be our guest on the podcast this week ahead of the Cheltenham Festival. Next week, David Raya with the goal kick. 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Arsenal leading 1-0. Ruter chests the ball down inside the Arsenal half and then slices it away. Gross is going to try and keep it in play. He has done so. So Arsenal still have some defending to do. Gross plays it back here to Kadioglu. Kadioglu to Ruter. Back to goal again. This time he's tackled. Arsenal are going to go long and quickly over the top towards Gyökeres. The ball bounces in front of him. He's able to control it. Eze comes steaming forward. Van Hecker makes the challenge. That'll run to Kadioglu. Keeps it in play wide on the left and plays it back to Boscagli. Into the feet of Gross here. Kadioglu's in space on the left and Brighton could turn it into a counter. Van Hecker sees the opportunity, goes racing forward towards the halfway line. We'll take you to Villa Park in a second. There's been another goal in that game, but here Brighton 0, Arsenal 1, and the Brighton attack continues. Gomez short to Vifa. Vifa up towards Ruter, round the corner here to Hinshelwood inside the penalty area, passes block, comes back to Ruter, wide to Gomez, cross comes in, Raya should get this at the far post, and does. Julia Bold at Villa Park.
It's Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 1, João Pedro close range to put it beyond Demi Martinez. It's Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 1.
Right, David Raya's been knocked over. Having made the catch, he was about to try and release the ball. Mitoma has put a right arm across his chest. He's gone down, and the Brighton fans didn't like the reaction. Yeah,
Mitoma, he's a strong boy, isn't he? He must have absolutely walloped him there because he went down, and that is a different form of time wasting, isn't it? He knows Mitoma can't do it. He could have easily just carried on, but I'll tell you what, we're 8 minutes from half time. It kills a minute. Let's just have a sit down for a second.
In terms of the title race, the top two both winning. Manchester City at home against Nottingham Forest. Semenyo scored. Saka with the early goal here at Brighton. Saka's putting pressure on Kadioglu. That has to be a foul in the end. Wrestling him to the floor inside the Brighton penalty area. So that will be a free kick to Brighton. Closing stages of the first half. Still Brighton 0, Arsenal 1.
Yeah, it's been bright, hasn't it? It's been entertaining. I think Arsenal have got a lot of questions attacking wise that you're looking at saying, really, Gyökeres had 1 or 2 touches and he had a moment there where he was in a 1v1 and didn't take advantage of it. Saka's looked the most likely, apart from the obvious score in the goal, out on that right-hand side, supported by Timber, but it's been far from fluent, and it's not for the first time this season we've said that about from Arsenal.
Brighton on the ball inside their own half. Van Hecker creeps across the halfway line, plays it low down the inside right channel. Ruter's tackled. Gyökeres touch back to Martinelli. Martinelli builds up a head of steam. Van Hecker slides in, wins the tackle. Hincapié back to Rice. Suddenly under pressure here, surrounded by Brighton players. Baleba made the tackle. Ruter getting away from Hincapié, slides in. Ruter gets the pass away. Mitoma shoots. Rice slides in and makes the block. Fabulous defending from Arsenal. Eze goes down under pressure from Baleba. Arsenal get the free kick, and the frustration builds from the Brighton fans all around us.
brilliant from Declan Rice. Loses the ball on the touchline, doesn't realise he's got a player behind him. Hincapié does really well just to hold it up, but then the reaction from the touchline to get back to the D to make the vital block on Mitoma, fantastic. I'm not sure what he runs on, but he must be running on fumes now, Declan Rice.
Right. Referee Chris Kavanagh is telling Arsenal to hurry it up. It's their free kick, and it was one of those where they gave it a bit of sort of after you, Claude. Who's taking this? Is it you, David Raya? Is it me? And Chris Kavanagh's seen enough there. So David Raya hits it long downfield. Gomez on the turn tries to clear. Hincapié blocks. Throw in for Brighton. Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal trying to win this first Premier League title since the Invincibles of 2004. If both win tonight, Arsenal and Manchester City, they're both leading, then Arsenal will maintain a 5-point lead. Manchester City will have the game in hand. Arsenal will have 8 games to go. Next for them is FA Cup away to Mansfield at lunchtime on Saturday, and then away to Leverkusen in the Champions League next week. Timber launches himself to make a tackle on the right-hand touchline. Mosquera clears, blocked by Kadioglu, goes all the way back downfield into the right-back position. And Arsenal, surprise, surprise, in no hurry to take the throw-in. They lead 1-0.
Well, the manager down below, Robin Herzl, is now hands on hips, banging his thighs, and he's getting more and more frustrated, and you kind of understand why, because there was a narrative and he set the narrative, but you do understand it when you see it for yourself.
It's Rob Green sitting alongside me here in the 5 Live commentary position up high in the West Stand at the Amex Stadium. Brilliant challenge from Boscagli, fully committed, sliding in, beautifully timed to get the ball off Saka, drives the crossfield ball forward, headed away by Hincapié on the edge of his own area. Rice's pass is not good enough, intercepted by Baleba. Little step over takes him wide to the right. Hincapié's back to cover it. Baleba goes back to Vifa here. Move has just lost a little momentum. Down the right it goes. Ruter is trying to help out. Ruter has Hincapié in front of him. Plays back to Vifa. Quickly to Van Hecke. But Arsenal have every man behind the ball again. Van Hecke, 10 yards inside the Arsenal half. On the right. Chip pass looking for Hinshelwood. Tries to chest it down as he's running forward and then squeezes one across the byline. But it just runs out of play and goes behind for the goal kick to Arsenal, who lead Brighton 1-0.
Yeah, Hincapié down this left-hand side has looked really good. Ruter keeps drifting over and playing out wide on the right at times just to create a different angle, and when he does receive it and faces up Hincapié, he looks at him and goes, I'll tell you what, I'll just go back.
Taking it back to Villa Park, Julia Bold.
Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1. Ollie Watkins on the score sheet. Lovely ball in from Morgan Rogers to set him up. Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1.
So Villa 2, Chelsea 1. Fulham West Ham goalless. Surprise, surprise, because John Southall's at that one. That's an unfair jibe, actually, when John can't respond. I'm sure he will in his next update. Manchester City leading Nottingham Forest by 1-0. And Celtic won up Aberdeen in the Scottish Premiership too. Gabriel can't keep that ball in play. Clears with his left foot. Slices off that left boot and goes out for a Brighton throw. Attacking position on the right. Mats Vifa is going to take this. Looking for players to make runs. No one seems too interested to offer themselves there. So he throws back into his own half. And Van Hecke. It's almost a goal's eye view, actually, this commentary position here. You get such a fabulous view of the pattern of play. Watching them all move around the pitch from up on high.
It's the coach's view, isn't it? From when they come down, you see them up in the stand. In the second half, they go down. This is from what they were looking for, and to find the idea, the shape of the play, the feel of the play.
Good shape from Brighton, bringing it out well from the back. Van Hecke's on the charge, crosses the halfway line. Gomez in space on the right-hand side. Hincapié comes across to close it down. Ball played ahead of Vifa, just too far on the slide, gets the cross in. It had already gone past the dead ball line, so that will be a goal kick to Arsenal. They lead Brighton 1-0, and we'll take you back to Villa Park again. Julia.
It's now Aston Villa 1 at Chelsea 1. That Ollie Watkins goal has been ruled offside by VAR. The boos are ringing around Villa Park. It looked tight. Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 1.
Right, Villa 1, Chelsea 1. Commentary on Sports Extra 2. Closing stages in the first half of all these games, and kicking off very shortly. Full commentary on Sports Extra 3 in the company of Chris Coles and Paul Robinson is Newcastle against Manchester United. And we'll pick up commentary of that one here after this game is done. With you through until 10:30 on 5 Live Sport tonight, bringing you all the post-match reaction as well. Football Daily podcast there for you as ever on the BBC Sounds app. Vifa's ball into midfield, inside his own half. Back it comes to Van Hecker. 90 seconds remaining in the first half, plus a bit of added time. Hinshelwood on the turn, short of the halfway line, lays it off to Vifa. Vifa, the Dutchman with the curly hair, down the right to Gomez. Gross looks to get a touch on it. There's a foul given against Ruter, was it, as he went past Mosquera? Is it offside?
No, it's a foul. Hinshelwood, just a little tug as the layoff was made. He knew he wasn't going to get there first. It was a cute tug, a clever tug, but just not early enough.
Yeah, Brighton were moving into a good attacking position down the right-hand side there, but the referee, Chris Kavanagh, spotted it, blew up, gave Gabriel on the ball inside his own half, moves away from Ruter. Pass closed down by Gomez, deflects off him, spins high in the air, and it was the Baleba deflection that's played a big part in this game on the Saka goal, went through the legs of Verbruggen.
Well, that's the only shot that Arsenal have had in the first half, and the play, the attacking play, the fluid play has been from Brighton. The stroke of luck has been for Arsenal.
Gabriel receives the ball from a throw-in, strokes it back to his goalkeeper Raya, careful touch with the outside of his right boot, and just nudges one forward to Mosquera. Options were closing down around him there. Back to Raya, long clearance this time up towards Gyökeres. He lets that ball bounce behind him, and then Karagioglu throws himself at a diving header to nod it back to his goalkeeper Verbruggen. So, approaching half-time, 3 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. John Southall watching Fulham West Ham. Thrills and spills, John?
You're better than that 0-0, I think, Ali, to be honest. Fulham 0, West Ham 0. Almost had a penalty for Fulham. Josh King brought down by Fernandes, but it was just on the edge of the area. So Fulham have a free kick here, right on the edge, and it looks like Jimenez may take this in a moment. Chance here for Fulham right on half-time. Fulham 0, West Ham 0.
OK, could be back with you shortly, John. Long ball downfield from Verbruggen, nearly turned into a very good pass from Gomez. Controlled it on the half volley on the edge of the Arsenal box and couldn't quite take it past Gabriel. Added time at the end of the first half. Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Saka's goal. Arsenal starting the night 5 points clear at the top of the table. Manchester City leading Nottingham Forest by 1-0. So that is how it will remain if both games finish like that. Everton at home next up for Arsenal in the Premier League. Saturday the 14th of March, a week on Saturday. Manchester City away at West Ham. Van Hecker across to Boscagli, straight up to Hinshelwood, lays it off quickly offside. Shame, nice layoff to Gomez, who was trying to tee himself up for a shot. Offside.
Yeah, it's really clever play because they played down the right-hand side, came back out very quickly, drew that press over to the Arsenal left, and that left a big gap in the midfield. Fired it into Hinshelwood, and you have to say you've got to be better than that to be onside, because there's no real game for being offside there. And it's clever play, but disappointing for just that moment execution.
Arsenal getting booed again for not hurrying on the free kick, but Diego Gomez actually was standing in the way of them going for a quick one. I don't think they would have gone for a quick one, but sort of gave them an excuse. Raya's cleared it now, down the left wing, headed away by Vifa. Gabriel is there. 50 pence head there, got that slightly wrong, comes flying off his forehead and goes out for a throw-in to Brighton on the right, inside their own half. About a minute or so of added time to be played.
I was going to say to you, Ali, I've asked you before in games, what gear do you think the better team are in or the favourites are in? And it's not really been like that for Arsenal, has it?
Oh, throwing down the right's got Mitoma away. Cross comes in and Hinshelwood couldn't get there in time. Raya thinks about going to collect that, then backpedals and heads back to his goal line. Hinshelwood's got there first, but he's got his back to goal. He's wide on the left, and Arsenal have dealt with the danger for now. Last 30 seconds of the first half here. Brighton looking to cause them one more problem. Brighton fans want the cross to come in. It does. Players down inside the penalty area. Vifa's appealing for a penalty. Nketiah gets to the ball first, clears it with his left foot. Baleba's got to be careful there, puts plenty on that to get it back into his own half to Bart Verbruggen. And Verbruggen, all in yellow, finds Gross across to Boscagli. Van Hecker on his right on the halfway line. He's going to go long up towards the edge of the box, dealt with by Arsenal. Goal at Aberdeen, Kenny Crawford.
Penalty at Aberdeen for Aberdeen, and he scored it, Kevin Nisbet. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Number 15 has put the ball in the back of the net. Former Millwall striker Nisbet, his 6th goal of the season. It's Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
Clumsy challenge by Victor Gyökeres on Pascal Gross. First half continues here at the Amex Stadium. Brighton fans baying for another card for an Arsenal player. Referee's just stopping the game at the moment, so I wonder whether VAR... No, VAR might have been having a look at the challenge. Now he's blown the half-time whistle, so Brighton fans unhappy with that because they don't even get their free kick. Frustration building inside the stadium, and I think the goal will not only annoy the Brighton fans, but Fabian Hurtzler as well. Saka, early in the game, cutting in onto his left foot, Rob, looking to whip that curler to the far corner. Didn't get it right, took a slight deflection off Baleba, confused Verbruggen.
Yeah, really done for him with the slightest of deflections. He'll be disappointed that he just didn't manage to react to. There was no sort of reaction from the deflection, so such disappointment for Brighton in that half, because they were the better team. They were the team on the front foot. They were the team with the ideas going forward. Arsenal have done what they do. They get the goal and they've gotten in the lead, and they've been there. They've been defensively assured, and they've just seen off pretty much everything that Brighton have had.
And that reaction you heard there for the referee, Chris Kavanagh, who goes marching off with the match ball in his left hand. New match ball, new Premier League match ball tonight as well, Mark. The Puma Thrill. Apparently Brighton 0, Arsenal 1.
I would say in some of the games this evening it's not providing that much of a thrill. But what's good about yours, Rob, is that there's needle there, actually, and that could work in Brighton's favour. The fans are up for this, and you know we've done various games at times at the Amex this season where it's all felt quite flat or quite nice, and this has got a bit of oomph to it.
Yeah, there's one thing you don't want as a home team, and it's to be nice, is it? And I don't know whether it's something that Hurtzler did as a masterstroke to wind up the fans, but it certainly worked and certainly created something. Every time Arsenal get a set piece anywhere on the pitch, it's going to get to the point where the fans are calling out the timing and how long it's taking them. But beyond that, the two managers have been at each other, and every time Brighton have looked to go forward, they've looked dangerous as well, and I think that's as much as anything got the Brighton fans going.
I don't think we've seen an Arsenal corner tonight. Am I right? Can't remember one.
There was that deep free kick, but that's it.
Free kicks, yeah, no corners as yet this evening, no.
How big a deflection would you say there was on the goal, Rob?
Oh, it was huge, chappers. It was mad. It was a very, very weak shot that managed to get slower after the deflection, but not as slow as Verbruggen's reaction. I don't know. It was a strange one because I think he felt like he was almost waiting for the shot for too long and trying to stop his fall, and that stopped him trying to react. I'm trying to make up a case here because you feel even with the deflection, there wasn't much of a reaction from him, was there?
1-0 to Arsenal at the break. And we'll be back for the second half. Now, 5 minutes ago, Villa thought they were 2-1 up at home to Chelsea. It got ruled out for a marginal offside. And now, Julia Bold.
It's Aston Villa 1 at Chelsea 2. Enzo Fernandez chipping the ball into João Pedro, who has put it into the back of the net. We have got added time here of 8 minutes. Are they looking at this? The ref just seems to
don't know, you're there.
Well, we barely knew before. Everyone was celebrating and we didn't know. There is a look, yes, possible offside.
They paused it, and look, it's on one of the smaller screens in the studio and a fair way away, but it looked as tight as the Villa one that was ruled out. So it could go either way. Whilst we wait for this, let's go to the Etihad, half-time there. Arsenal a goal up, City a goal up. John Bennett.
Yes, Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Forest frustrated Man City for 31 minutes, looking solid after going through at the back, packing the midfield, but Ryan Cherki skillfully entered the box and his cross was volleyed in by Antoine Semenyo, his 5th Premier League goal since joining Man City. Pep Guardiola's side have dominated, but Forest yet again have created chances on the break. Gibbs White came close, Igor Jesus came close as well. So far, so good then for Manchester City, looking at a 5th straight Premier League win. Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
What happened, Julia?
It says on the screen, decision goal, no offside offence on João Pedro. So his 2nd of the night stands. Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 2.
Craven Cottage, John Southall.
Not much thrill here. Fulham 0, West Ham 0, half short on chances, one each early on in the first minute. Castellanos denied by Leno. And for Fulham, Josh King in a very good position on the right of the area, shot wide from 12 yards. Then in added time, Josh King again on the turn, on the right, saved by Hermansen. Good save that. And Mark, we had a West Ham corner in this game. There was no pulling, no jostling, no grappling, no throttling each other. Very disconcerting. Old school corner. But with Forest losing, This is a real chance for West Ham to rise out of the bottom three, but they have to win. Fulham 0, West Ham 0.
10 minutes into the game at St James's Park. Gary Flintoff.
No goals as yet, but a very bright start by the home side. In fact, Newcastle have managed to hit the post, albeit it was a cross from Kieran Trippier, which just drifted over goalkeeper Sonny Lomans and just came back off the woodwork. Lewis Hall then blazed the resulting chance off the woodwork over the bar. Matthias Cunha had an opening, but he also blazed high and wide. But so far, so good. This game has promise. Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0.
Sports Extra 3 if you want to listen to it, and then it will be here on 5 Live at the conclusion of Brighton against Arsenal. Celtic have a chance to go second in the Scottish Premiership this evening. As it stands, though, they're not taking it at Aberdeen. Kenny Crawford.
Yeah, 25 minutes gone. This game's ticking along nicely. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. It was the visitors who got the fast start on 5 minutes. Kieran Tierney's second goal in two game that came from Luke McCown's outswinging corner, which was flicked on by Scales, and there was Tierney to poke it into the roof of the net from inside the 6-yard box. But then Aberdeen got a penalty. Osalanya failed by Liam Scales, and Kevin Nisbet stepped up, former Millwall striker, for his 8th goal of the season in the right corner to bring Aberdeen level. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
8:25. This is 5 Live Sport, and Andrew Strachan has the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you. President Trump's spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt says US operations in Iran are aimed at permanently extinguishing the country's nuclear ambitions. She was speaking in her first press briefing from the White House since the conflict began.
Number 1, destroy the regime's deadly ballistic missiles and completely raze their missile industry to the ground. Number 2, annihilate the Iranian regime's navy. And so far, we have destroyed more than 20 Iranian ships, including their top submarine last night, using a torpedo for the first time since World War II.
President Trump is due to speak at the White House shortly. Earlier, the US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told reporters a US submarine had fired a torpedo in international waters, sinking an Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean. Around 140 people are presumed dead. Iran's president has addressed leaders of neighbouring states, insisting Tehran respects their sovereignty but asked to defend itself from the US and Israeli attacks. And the UN's refugee agency is warning that intensifying violence across the Middle East and beyond is already triggering significant population movement. An estimated 275,000 people have been displaced since Saturday. And in other news, the Scottish Labour MP Joni Rees says she's never seen anything to make her suspect her husband David Taylor has broken any law after 3 men were arrested on suspicion of spying for China. The men were detained as part of a counter-terrorism investigation.
Good morning, everyone. It is 5 Live Breakfast.
On 5 Live Breakfast today, we looked ahead to the first repatriation flight for British nationals from the Middle East.
Oman's a good choice because it's about 1,200 miles from Tehran. The capital, Muscat, is just a 280-mile drive from UAE's biggest city, Dubai.
This is 5 Live Breakfast.
What we're going to do is just give you some context, help you understand really what's going on, what it means for us here in the UK, what it means globally as well.
Wake up with 5 Live Breakfast, weekdays from 6.
Ask your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Half-time in 4 Premier League games tonight. Chelsea are 2-1 up at Villa. Arsenal lead at Brighton by a goal to nil. It's goalless between Fulham and West Ham, and Manchester City are 1-up on Nottingham Forest. Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0 as they approach the quarter-hour mark at St James's Park, and they're approaching the half-hour mark at Pittodrie, where it's Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. New Zealand have beaten South Africa by 9 wickets to book their place in the men's T20 World Cup final. South Africa reached 169 for 8. New Zealand reached that target in less than 13 overs thanks to Finn Allen hitting an unbeaten 100 in 33 balls. Former England international David Milan is with us. What a knock. What a knock.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? There's very few times you can say someone was world-class, but Finn Allen went and took the game away from South Africa. I mean, to score 133 balls in a World Cup semi-final, I mean, take a bow. Fantastic performance from him.
And the bizarre thing was, actually, for the opening partnership, he was actually the junior partner in terms of scoring, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Tim Seifert came out the blocks absolutely firing. He managed to put New Zealand in the driving seat, and then Finn Allen just kept on with the momentum, especially when Tim Seifert got out. There was no hint of him slowing down. He just constantly put South Africa under pressure, and it was amazing to see how clean he hit the ball. He didn't give a chance, and very often do you see a batter score 100 in a T20 game and not give a chance, and it was just the perfect innings from him.
It kind of shows, when we look ahead to England-India tomorrow, how difficult it is to predict that, because South Africa have, up until that New Zealand innings, looked the best team out there, haven't they?
They have, by far. They've played the best cricket, been the most consistent. They won the most games, the only unbeaten team in the tournament. So they did exceptionally well. But it just shows when you get to knockout games, if you turn up and play really well on the day, it can be anyone's game. And that will give England so much confidence tomorrow. I mean, India, before this tournament, would probably have been the favourites. I know South Africa beat them, but England have a chance now to do what New Zealand did to South Africa and put in a good performance. And it all starts with winning the toss. If they can win the toss tomorrow and chase in Mumbai, I think it will put them in good stead.
If you take home advantage and home crowd out of this, would you say it's finely balanced and could, therefore, as you have just said, be determined on the toss of a coin?
Yeah, well, majority of the games in India, especially when you play in the evening games, the dew factor plays such a big part. It just allows the team batting second to have, I wouldn't say an unfair advantage in terms of conditions, but the ball skids a bit. It doesn't turn as much. And I expect it to be a fresh and a flat wicket in Mumbai. So when you put that into place with the home crowd, it's going to be a tough challenge for England. But if you can win the toss and put India in, put them under pressure, they've got the expectations of all those people watching, the expectations that they're going to win this tournament, put them under pressure early, see where they end up, and hopefully the dew plays a big part and England can bat on a wicket that would hopefully be easier to play on.
Thank you, David. David Milan there. Commentary on Sports Extra from 1:30 in-play clips on the BBC Sport website and app. Let's switch to tennis. Indian Wells is one of the biggest tournaments on the calendar outside of the slams, and it gets underway today. But Russell Fuller, because of everything that's going on in the Middle East, it will be without some of its biggest names.
Yes, although I think, Mark, that all those who were playing in Dubai last week may all be out of the area by now. The ATP are not commenting on individuals, and we know that Daniil Medvedev and Karen Khachanov, two of those affected, are due to practice here for the first time at 6 p.m. this evening. It appears they may have left by private jet from Oman, along with Andrei Rublev. Henry Patton and Harry Heliavara have managed to get out of Dubai today. They're currently in Rome. They had to fly to Rome via Cairo, and Heliavara was detailing in his blog yesterday how they tried to get into Oman by car on Tuesday, but couldn't get across the border, and one of the reasons was that the car had a UAE number plate. And as of yesterday, Coco Gauff's coach was still stuck in the region. Here she is, showing great perspective as ever to sum up the situation.
My coach, Gavin, is actually there right now. He's currently stuck, and I don't know if he's going to make it. I just want him to be safe, but I don't know if when he can leave and things like that. We're just taking it day by day with him. But yeah, I've never felt unsafe here. I've never really felt unsafe in a lot of parts of the world, and it's one of the things that, yeah, violence can happen, but it can happen in different forms. For example, in the U.S., we do have a lot of mass shootings, and there's always uncertainty with that. So yeah, and I don't think, a lot of hate is being towards the Middle East, but I think it's just a lot of unfortunate circumstances that are happening right now, and the timing of everything makes it difficult that there are the guys that are there stuck. But I am thankful that I was able to get out of that before things turn to where it is now.
So there may be a coach or two missing. There may be one or two players who have to pull out of the draw, but I think all the big names in the singles probably will be able to take part. Medvedev, for example, is not due to play until Saturday anyway, so he'll be ready to start, although he'll be dealing with 12 hours of jet lag and will have only 3 days to get over that. And the other thing, just to say finally, Mark, is that this is technically a mandatory tournament. There would normally be penalties, ranking points penalties for not taking part, but if players do skip it because of these reasons, then I've been told that they will not be punished further.
Thank you very much, Russell. Let's switch to the golf. Luke Donald will captain Europe for the Ryder Cup in Ireland next year. He could now become the first captain to win the competition 3 times in a row, and here's why he's doing it again.
To be totally honest, I probably didn't firmly make up my mind till a few weeks ago. I think the the time between Rome and New York was very short. I was very eager to get back into having an opportunity to try and win an away Ryder Cup in New York. That was a big challenge for me, and there was really no real time between those Ryder Cups to kind of relax and let it sink in. So I felt like for 3.5, 4 straight years, I was just involved with Ryder Cups. So I did want to take some time, this one, enjoy it. And to be honest, after we won in New York, it wasn't really at the forefront of my mind at all. So, but, I think having got some backing from my family, from players, and just realising the opportunity, especially being in Ireland, just a great place, at Adair. We know how special that's going to be, the 100th anniversary. The opportunity seemed something that I should really think about.
So that's Luke Donald, Alistair Bruce Ball, part of 5 Live Sports golf team, covered many a Ryder Cup. And over the course of you covering the Ryder Cup, what Luke Donald has done has taken the role of captain from ceremonial to like being a head coach and a manager and all the data that comes with it. So if you're successful, it's no surprise that people want you to stay on.
Yeah, and well, Mark, I mean, you were there around the 18th green at Bethpage last autumn. I mean, the first thing you heard from the European fans was 2 more years, 2 more years. That's slightly jokingly, it happened after the Ryder Cup in Italy. But the players joined in as well. And, if you're on the Ryder Cup committee and your job is to put together the best outfit to try and win another Ryder Cup, he obviously had to be the first person you asked to be the captain. The only question was going to be whether he felt he had the energy, the desire, the commitment. Because, he put so much work into it, heart and soul, and his whole backroom team. And they came up with a totally different strategy for Bethpage than they did for Marco Simone. So to do all that again, that was the big question. He's obviously decided he's got that in him. Just before we get back underway here at the Emirates, the one thing I would say, Mark, do you remember? I remember him saying at the end of that Ryder Cup that he really felt the best way to do it as a European Ryder Cup captain was it was a 4-year thing, and your first one should be in Europe. If you wanted to win in the USA, you really should do the first one in Europe to give yourself the best chance of winning away. Right. So what does this appointment mean? So we're going again?
We're now going for another one over there as well, which nobody would be complaining about at the moment.
Well, I don't think they would.
Anyhow, well done. A golf answer. You're presenting the end of the show, and you're going to do the second half commentary on this. You are versatile.
Yeah, and the Commentator's View podcast as well, Mark. Don't forget that, of course, on Friday. Although I'm not on it this week, actually, so I'm not doing that. So ignore that.
I will miss you.
Thank you, Mark. 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Premier League football back underway here. With Arsenal leading Brighton by a goal to 0. 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League table, with Manchester City leading Nottingham Forest by a goal to 0. And Yankuba Minte has come on for Brighton at the start of the second half to replace Kaoru Mitoma, who we did see pick up a knock sort of midway through the first half when Gabriel slid in and blocked a shot. So I'm guessing he couldn't shake that off.
Yeah, it surprised me because it was such a long time from half-time. But Minte brings in his own energy, brings his own drive from the left-hand side, and picking up the ball now.
Yeah, Minte's crossing. Ruter's header goes skidding wide of David Raya's right-hand post. Free in the box there. It's not often you say that when Arsenal are defending crosses into their box and just couldn't quite guide the header on target.
Yeah, 12 yards out. It would have been a fantastic header because he's going back on himself and then having to beat David Raya, who's on such sparkling form. But what, like you say, middle of the goal, 12 yards out, in between Timber and Gabriel. Pretty free as a bird.
Right, let's reset. Free as a goal? Just free as a bird. I'm going for goals.
Not having that
tonight.
one.
You're not having that. No, that doesn't work. Villa 1, Chelsea 2. Latest in the Premier League, 7:30 kickoffs. Fulham 0, West Ham 0. Manchester City leading Nottingham Forest by a goal to 0. And underway the 8:15 kickoff over on Sports Extra 3. Newcastle and Manchester United goalless. So we'll get you through the 7:30 games. Commentary available of all of them. This one on 5 Live. Manchester City, Nottingham Forest on Sports Extra. Villa, Chelsea on Sports Extra 2. Fulham, West Ham on the BBC Sport website. And once we've wrapped it all up, we'll pick up commentary here on 5 Live of Newcastle, Manchester United to Craven Cottage. Sean Southall.
Well, a controversial start to the second half. Fulham 0, West Ham 0. They've just had a long VAR check for a Fulham penalty. Kearney was caught by Castellanos as he lined up a shot. But VAR have turned down the penalty that was given, saying the foul was the other way around. The Fulham manager absolutely livid. Fulham 0, West Ham 0.
Arsenal in the red and white this evening. David Raya, their goalkeeper, in green, playing from left to right in the second half. Raya Timber, Mosquera, Gabriel, Hincapié, Zubamendi and Rice, Saka, Eza, Martinelli and Gyökeres as the centre forward. Saka with the goal 9 minutes into the game. The shot took a deflection off Baleba and squeezed its way through Bart Verbruggen's legs, just couldn't quite close them in time, react to the deflected shot. Foul by Saka. I think that's, who's that down there that he's caught? Is that Boscagli? Yeah. He's caught Boscagli on the ankle.
You might have heard the cry. It was a late tackle, but too forceful from Saka. I think he's a bit miffed as anyone, really. It was a foul, but you're looking Brighton again. They've started positively, haven't they, in the second half, on the ball, looking to create the options. Just wondering whether Minter out on this left-hand side is going to drift in a bit more than Mitoma did.
Aberdeen won, Celtic won in the Scottish Premiership, and I saw that Leverkusen were 0-0 away to Hamburg in the Bundesliga tonight, and the reason that's interesting, of course, is they are Arsenal's opponents in the Champions League next Wednesday. All those Champions League commentaries coming your way on 5 Live and BBC Sounds next week. What news in the second half of Manchester City, Nottingham Forest? John Bennett.
Still 1-0 to Manchester City. They've got a corner now which was swung in, but Bernardo Silva so close to a great goal. Skipped past 2 defenders. His shot well saved by Sells. Still Man City 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Brighton keeper Verbruggen has the ball at his feet. That's a lovely measured pass, floated out to Kadioglu, just invites him to go charging forward. Saka comes back to make the tackle. Kadioglu goes down, play continues. Gross immediately delivers a deep cross to the far side of the penalty area. Gomez tries to flick it past Hincapié, didn't get that quite right. Hincapié's on the floor inside his own area, stumbles forward and can only stab the ball away and concede it for a Brighton corner. And he was hoping he was going to get a free kick there. There was no foul, was there?
No, he just didn't have anywhere to go, and the ball had stopped. He was desperate for it, either a foul or the ball to go off, and it was doing neither, so he was kind of stranded. But Pascal Gross on the delivery on the ball is always wonderful, isn't it? His range of passing is fantastic. Just didn't have to move there. He just stood there, and Gomez had to say, well, thank you very much, and try and play.
Right, set piece central, not too much wrestling and grappling going on in the 60. Well, as I say that, Eza and Gomez going right at it. A friend of mine jokingly said to me, Rob, before coming to the game today, are you looking forward to WrestleMania 30 this evening?
Yeah, David Reyes doing his best Hulk Hogan impression right now.
It set you off on your famous wrestlers, didn't it? You had all sorts that were meant to be me and Ian Dennis and the like, as the ball is headed away by Hincapié, only as far as Baleba, back out to the right, cross driven in. Gross, clever volley pass, might have been a handball there by Vifa. Play continues. Gross will cross again. Good ball towards the far post. Ride did well. Backpedaled, stretched, caught it cleanly, and immediately rolls it out to Gyökeres here, who picks it up in the left back position. Martinelli is waiting in the middle. Brighton desperately trying to get back. Here's Rice charging into the heart of the Brighton midfield. Dragged back by Gomez. Free kick for Arsenal.
Yeah, just a little bit of a luck there for Declan Rice, because it was a poor touch. He was desperate for something. There you go, Gomez again. Really, he doesn't want to track back at all tonight, does he? Just a little arm out and say, that'll do. I'll take the yellow.
Right, let's see what Arsenal can do with the free kick, and then we'll take you to Newcastle. Manchester United kicked off at 8:15 this evening. Commentary currently over on Sports Extra 3. All the goals tonight, match of the day. BBC One 10:40. I'll remind you the Brighton lineup as well. Minte on for Mitoma in this second half, and Arsenal remains edgy this, because they still only lead by a goal to nil, and once again haven't looked particularly fluent. Gross to Ruter, miscontrol from Ruter. Gross is there to pick it up and quickly loft the ball out to the left, and Kadioglu can't keep it in. It runs out of play for a throw into Arsenal in the right back position. Not sure we had a wrestler's name for Gary Flintoff. We'll work on that. He's watching Newcastle Manchester United.
Yes, I won't go there. 28 minutes played on the very chilly Tyneside. It remains 0-0, but Newcastle asking all the questions as Joe Linton comes forward. Finds Anthony Gordon in the penalty area, but United clear. But Alanga and Tonali have both volleyed wide, and Harvey Barnes has curled the shot just wide of the post. Newcastle looking the more likely, but it's 0-0.
Producer George has gone for big boss man for Gary Flintoff. Here's a cross comes into the Arsenal penalty. Oh, Ruter didn't throw himself at that. Then a shot is blocked Came off the right foot of Hinshelwood. That could have gone anywhere. Timber just happy to whack it away to the halfway line. Good ball forward by Boscagli. Minte's going to deliver it early into Ruter. Couldn't quite control it. Rice heads it away. The ball drops loose in the middle of the Arsenal half. Baleba is there. Saka makes a challenge. Baleba shrugs him off and plays it back to Boscagli. And Brighton start the second half well.
Yeah, really positive. They've got 4 or 5 in the attack up against the Arsenal 4, so they've always got an option going forwards. So that's why they just threw one in, because they were outnumbered 3-1 there, Arsenal, at the far post. Timber really didn't have a prayer of winning that ball up against 3 of them. And from there, it just could have really... Oh, it's a strike from Hinshelwood in the end, as you said, and just that element of unknown and precariousness in how Arsenal are playing and how Brighton are approaching this.
In terms of the title race, Arsenal 1 up, Manchester City 1 up tonight. Manchester City at home to Nottingham Forest. Arsenal have given the ball away, and Minte brings it across the halfway line. Plays it to Wiefer. Wiefer back to Van Hecker in the centre circle inside his own half. Fabian Hürzeler outside his technical area with his hands clasped behind his back. The fourth official, David Webb, politely asks him to move 3 steps to his right. Ruter's ball had 2 to pick out there and missed them both, and suddenly Arsenal turn it into a counter, and Cappier goes steaming away down the left, knocks it through the legs of Wiefer. Ruter's clearance only hits Hincapié in the head. Ruter bumps into him. Hincapié goes down, looking for another free kick he's not going to get. And Brighton now able to bring it forward quickly across the halfway line. Gomez nearly turns into trouble and plays it back here to Wiefer.
It's not, this game isn't unique, but there are just so many occasions where a player is just playing for a free kick. It's incredible.
Minte, chance to get a cross in from the left, straight at David Raya, who bends down and picks that up at his near post. Comes sprinting out to the edge of the area. Arsenal want a second goal here to give themselves some breathing space, a cushion, just in case they do concede. They know they cannot afford to drop points. Manchester City have the game in hand. Were they to win that, then the lead is only 2 points, and the game between the two in April is at the Etihad Stadium. Saka can't get past Kadioglu there inside the Brighton half, comes back to Mosquera. He's got to be careful because he's the Arsenal player on the yellow card. We've played 10 minutes now in the second half here at the Amex. Still Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Chelsea 2-1 up at Villa. Fulham and West Ham goalless. Manchester City leading Nottingham Forest 1-0. Newcastle and Manchester United goalless. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Elegant running from Eza, just glides past Minte. Tries to feed it to Saka. Minte sticks to his task, tackles the Arsenal winger, throwing for Arsenal.
And he's come out with a bit between his teeth, hasn't he, Minte? He's been positive on the ball, and there, maybe not at the forefront of his game, tracking back and tackling and doing really well. And just seeing shots of Danny Welbeck waiting to come on, or warming up at least.
Cross hooked in by Zubamendi, attacked at the back post by Martinelli. It falls to Gyökeres. Gyökeres is down by the byline. He's tackled here by Diego Gomez. Pass is risky into midfield, and it's given away, and Arsenal have it. Mosquera, first time touch from Gyökeres. Back to Gyökeres via Eza. Here's Saka, edge of the penalty area, trying to work it onto that left foot. Still going, shoots wide of the target, behind for the goal kick. John Bennett watching Manchester City against Nottingham Forest.
Listen to this scoreline. Equaliser for Nottingham Forest. Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 1. It's a great goal by Morgan Gibbs-White. A back heel from close range, headed down to him just outside the 6-yard box. And I'd like to see a replay, but it looked from my direction as if he back-heeled it into the back of the net. Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
Half-time at Pittodrie, Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Keeping an eye on the Arsenal fans away to my right when they get news of the Nottingham Forest goal. Minte's cross into the area. They'll be more concerned that Arsenal get all 3 points here. Hincapié thumps it downfield with his left foot, high in the air. The ball disappears from view above the roof of this stand. Gyökeres does well, brings it down, looking for Saka. Sliding challenge by Kadioglu. They're just in time for Brighton. Gets it back to Verbruggen, passes out to Boscagli.
Yeah, he's been brilliant tonight, Kadioglu, getting up and getting in support of the attacks, but that time getting back was vital. Just for the first time in the game, he's really stretched, really open.
Here's Minte, low ball, couldn't squeeze that one through, looking for Hinshelwood. Brighton still offering a threat. Pascal Gross up to the corner of the Arsenal box, goes wide left to Kadioglu. Back it comes here to Boscagli, crossing towards the far post. Gomez leaps, nodded down by Hincapié. Ruter hits it, Raya's down and makes the save. The ball goes loose, Timber's there and clears it away.
Yeah, really good save. He's injured himself in the process. David Raya gone down injured, holding his shoulder, but just a measured save that it was. down and across. It wasn't the cleanest of strikes, but to get across and get it away from goal, really good.
Arsenal waiting to make a double change here. Leandro Trossard and Kai Havertz will come on. David Raya needs treatment, having made the save. Manchester City 1, Nottingham Forest 1 is a development in the title race. And did I get an instruction to head elsewhere while we wait for Raya to receive treatment? We're taking you to Craven Cottage, John Southall.
Fulham 0, West Ham 0, but West Ham on the front foot here. Somerville, great ball from the left-hand side across the 6-yard box. Callum Wilson inches away, just needed anything on it, and that was his last involvement. He's been substituted. Have West Ham got a goal in them? Fulham 0, West Ham 0.
Let's get the half-time details from Pittodrie. Kenny Crawford.
Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Kieran Tierney's close-range finish gave Celtic a 5th-minute lead, but Kevin Nisbet equalised from the penalty spot on 19. So as it stands, Celtic staying 7 points behind Hearts. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1 at half-time.
I think you can probably hear the Brighton fans loud and clear in the background. They don't feel this is a genuine injury suffered by David Raya, having made the save. Thoughts?
Well, looking at Kepa down below, as he doesn't feel like it's a genuine injury either, because he got up, had a little chat with one of the coaches, didn't really move, and then sat back down again.
Right, Gyökeres and Martinelli coming off for Arsenal. Trossard and Havertz coming on. Trossard is the former Brighton man. Tends to get a lively reception whenever he plays in front of the Brighton fans. Of course, Danny Welbeck, former Arsenal man, is waiting to come on for Brighton. Hopefully he will think at some point this evening as well. Arsenal still leading here by 1-0.
Yeah, David Raya now back up. He was injured just long enough for them to make them substitutions.
Gyökeres as well, who's just left the field, I forgot to mention as well, a former Brighton man. Joined here as a young player, a few seasons here, loan spells at St Pauli and then off to Swansea and Coventry. Started scoring the goals for Coventry, joined there permanently, then Sporting, now Arsenal, but playing no further part in the game this evening. Arsenal lead 1-0. Scrappy at the moment. Let's see if the game can settle back into a rhythm. Half an hour to play. 8:15 kick-off tonight at St James's Park, Newcastle, Manchester United. So once this game is over, 5 Live will bring you full commentary of that. 5 Live Sport with you through until 10:30, but Newcastle, Manchester United over on Sports Extra 3 right now. Minte trying to use his pace to get past Mosquera, who's on the yellow card, beating him. One-on-one with Raya, and then the cross into the near post, not behind. That will be a Brighton corner. Minte has made a real impact in his second half.
Yeah, I knew Mosquera was booked and just ran at him. Had the opportunity to cross and went, nah, I'm going past you. And Mosquera had nothing. Tried to bring him down almost on the edge of the box, and the cutback was tight, was to Rutter. It came off Zubimendi, I think. He's tracking back and could have gone anywhere.
Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal's defence under pressure in the second half, and certainly from this attacking set piece. 4 blue and white striped shirts in the penalty area. Gross's delivery, in it comes. Rice gets the header, goes straight up in the air. Trossard chases, bumps into Minte. Both players go down. Van Hecker is wide on the right, tries to knock it through the legs of Zubimendi, unsuccessful. Here's Trossard. Yep, there's the reaction to Trossard. Clears with his right foot. That's one for Saka to chase. Baleba will get there first. Had to make sure he got that pass right and got enough on it to get it back to his goalkeeper, Verbruggen. And Arsenal really haven't threatened Verbruggen too much. The one shot on goal from Saka in that first half took the deflection and somehow wormed its way through. Manchester City need to get themselves back in front in terms of the title race. What's happening, John Bennett?
They have got themselves back in front here against Nottingham Forest. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 1. What a response after conceding that equaliser. Rodri is claiming this, but it was really messy from close range as the corner was swung in. He headed it towards goal. I think it took a couple of touches of some Nottingham Forest defenders, but Rodri's claiming it. Man City 2, Nottingham Forest 1.
Goal at Fulham as well, John Southall.
And what a big goal this could be. Fulham 0, West Ham 1. Leno got caught out of his goal. It was a real mess. And Crescencio Somerville again picked up the pieces and side-footed into the bottom left-hand corner. Fulham 0, West Ham 1.
Diego Gomez on the attack for Brighton, bringing it in from the left-hand side, feeds it to Rutter, quickly moves it on to the right. Minte's popped up over there, gets that cross into the far post, headed down by Vifa, saved by Raya. It was straight at the goalkeeper. Goal at Villa Park as well, Julia Bold.
Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 3. Cole Palmer, long-range shot has just flown past Emi Martinez. Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 3.
Here's Trossard on the attack for Arsenal. Their fans desperate for this second goal, just to calm them down a little bit. Brighton have started this second half well. Trossard still getting stick. Challenge on him. He goes down to ground. Arsenal win a corner, and they lead Brighton by a goal to 0.
Well, we've been waiting for this, haven't we? We've had to wait an hour, 62 minutes. I feel like this is a moment where the Brighton fans, for all their gesticulating, for all the booing that they've done, they've gone very, very quiet all of a sudden. The game was really opened up. It's going end to end, and I'm feeling that if you've got to score, you've got to score while you're playing well, and Brighton haven't done that. They've been playing well for such a long time and failed to score.
Christian Mosquera's coming off.
Yeah.
He's going to be replaced by Calafiori. Yellow card related.
Yes. Well, and Minter related.
Yeah.
I think that was you were going to go off one way or another, wasn't he?
Just in terms of that West Ham goal from Somerville, so 1-0 up at Fulham, commentary on the BBC Sport website and app. Table as it stands, West Ham in 18th, so just inside that relegation zone on 28. Nottingham Forest 2-1 down now at Manchester City, 28. Spurs 29. Spurs Palace is our commentary tomorrow night. Rice drives that into the near post. Ruta heads it away, but it's still inside that penalty area. Gabriel hooks it over his right shoulder. Gomez heads it away. First time ball from Kadioglu. That was one-on-one on the halfway line between Minter and Hincapié. Hincapié did well to get a foot on it for Arsenal. Trossard passes it straight out of play. So it's not... this is very much not done and dusted for Arsenal as yet.
No, not plain sailing. And Calafiori, I wonder how much he's coming at left back, and obviously Capier is going to come in at centre half. I'm just wondering how much Calafiori is going to have the licence to bomb forward, or whether he's just going to sit and stay, and Arsenal are going to, grind this one out.
Beg your pardon, table refresh, because of the video printer here hadn't accounted for the Manchester City goal that put them in front against Nottingham Forest. So West Ham leading, come out of the bottom three. Forest drop in on 27, West Ham 28, Spurs 29, Spurs Palace on 5 Live and BBC Sounds tomorrow. Van Hecke's on the ball for Brighton at walking pace. Havertz in front of him, plays it to his right to Diego Gomez. Van Hecke's going to go back into his own half. What's happening at St James's Park? Gary Flintoff.
4 minutes to the break. Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0. Just getting a bit tasty. We've just had 3 yellow cards brandished.
Keep going, Gary, sorry.
Another problem, 3 yellow cards brandished in the space of 4 minutes. As a shot comes in and is well saved by Aaron Ramsdale away to his right. Covey Mainu it was with his shot from the edge of the area. But it is getting a bit spicy, Ali. Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra 3. Sorry, a bit messy there, but the ball broke to Kai Havertz from nowhere. He was clean through on goal, and any goal in the title race vitally important. So sorry to interrupt Gary there. That's the way it works during our live football commentaries. Arsenal have a throw-in. So Manchester City leading Nottingham Forest 2-1. Arsenal leading Brighton here by a goal to 0. 25 minutes to play in the second half. Raya, midway inside his own half, pings the ball forward with his right foot, headed back towards Rice. First time pass to Trossard, laid off to Calafiori. Havertz just drifts into a pocket of space to the left of the Brighton box. Cross comes in towards Calafiori, who's not featured for Arsenal for a while. Vifa slips over, and the clearance from Balaba's gone behind for another Arsenal corner. So, like the old London buses, Rob.
Yeah, ready. And the first one was really drilled and whipped into that near post. A lot flatter than what we've normally seen, and there was not an Arsenal player in sight, so it just, much like the rest of the Arsenal performance, not really in sync.
Yeah, imagine this must be fairly agonising watch and listen for the Arsenal fans at the moment. Still top of the Premier League table, 5 points clear of Manchester City if both teams win tonight. City having played 1 game fewer. Corner for Arsenal. What will Rice do with this one? Pace and deep to the far post. Gabriel climbed, the ball didn't reach him. Saka tries to lay it off to Eza. Eza side foots a pass out to Rice on the left. Another cross comes in from that left wing. Header is glancing off target and behind for a goal kick. Gabriel feels that should have been a corner. Zubamendi's header, though, he was the man that got the last touch. Goal kick for Brighton.
Yeah, Gabriel wasn't watching, was he? And was trying to blag it, but again, is that Arsenal corner, it's different. They'll set up very spaced out, all individual runs rather than as a pack, and he just doesn't have the same presence, doesn't have that sort of sense of inevitability about it, does it? So I think all of a sudden they've tried to change it. It's not quite so much mentioned Danny Welbeck warming up earlier on. I think he's about to make an appearance.
Okay, Mikel Arteta looks anxious. I think he wants a bit more intensity from his team. He's certainly bringing that on the sidelines. Hertzler and Arteta appeal to the linesman away to their right, the assistant referee, claiming that the throw-in or the handball or whatever should be theirs. It's given as a Brighton throw. Kadioglu takes it and lobs it back to Boscagli. Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Brighton, who have caused problems for the big boys under Fabian Herd of last season. Beat Manchester City here earlier this season. Gomez's ball, that's miscued. Zubimendi stretches, doesn't get enough on it. Minte lays it off here to Baleba. He will shoot powerfully and low. Gabriel and Zubimendi both get in the way of that. The ball spins out to Gomez on the right, comes back to Van Hecker. Early cross to the far post. Hinshelwood's up again, gets underneath the header, and it balloons wide of the target and goes behind for the goal kick.
Diego Gomez had the opportunity to play a square ball, and that was the opportunity there. It wasn't so much the cross or the shot after that. Just that last moment, that moment of quality didn't really come off. But again, hope for Brighton in that.
20-year-old Jack Hinshelwood, popular lad here, comes off as fast as he can to be replaced by Danny Welbeck. Given a rest initially tonight, 5 seasons at Arsenal, has scored against them once before for Brighton in 8 appearances, a penalty in a League Cup tie. But you know those pessimistic football fans, what they think. Oh, right, yeah, Welbeck off the bench against his former club. We know what happens here. When you're worried about trying to win a title. Always say it about Hinshelwood as well, Rob, and he's finally gone off the field. I just think for a commentator, his surname, I love Hinshelwood. It's off the tongue. Rice's header infield. Havertz tries to get onto a ball. Trossard's first time ball is behind Saka and goes out for a throw into Brighton inside their own half on the left. Gary Flintoff at St James's Park. What's happening?
Just having a VAR review at the minute here. I think the referee's actually booked the Newcastle player Elanga for diving here, and he's given a free kick to Manchester United. But a big chance at 0-0 for Manchester United. A few moments ago, Cunha into the penalty area. Low shot, well saved by the goalkeeper Ramsdale. Came back to Brian and Burmo. Surely he had to hit the target. Nope. Over the top into the Gallagher. It remains 0-0.
20 minutes to play here at the Amex Stadium. Premier League leaders Arsenal, 1 up at Brighton. Scoring early through Saka. The ball bounces twice and Hincapié really puts power behind the header to get it back to Raya.
Yeah, it's very much a 4-4-2 now for Brighton. Ruta and Welbeck, the 2 centre forwards. I'm just feeling that, you know, now we're talking about how well Brighton have been playing and not really having that chances, but you've got your man on now. He's the one. We talked about how few goals were in that starting 11.
I'm just looking at this here.
Well, like Diego
Second
Gomez,
yellow.
he scored 2 in his last 2. Gary
absolutely.
Flintoff, I can hear in the background there at the moment at St James's Park. Things going on there, VAR involved. So, Gary, what's going on?
So, the VAR review, it was actually Jacob Ramsey who went down in the penalty area looking for a penalty. He's adjudged to have dived. That means a second yellow for Ramsey, so he is off. Newcastle are down to 10 men. The scoreline remains 0-0.
Wow, second yellow for simulation to get yourself sent off at home against Manchester United. Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0. Commentary here on 5 Live after this game. This has got scrappy and bitty and edgy, and here's Trossard on the left. He's going to run at Vifa, tries to take him on the outside. Vifa had a bit of a hack at the ball there, got lucky he didn't make contact with Trossard. Vifa's tackled, goes out for a throw-in to Arsenal, 5 yards short of the byline on the left. Calafiori wraps the Puma Thrill match ball up in his red shirt, thrillingly throws it short to Declan Rice, looks for the 1-2 with Trossard. Trossard's tackled, scrappy again, the ball goes out of play, this time for a Brighton throw, and we'll take you back to Villa Park. Julia Bold.
Where it is Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 4. João Pedro again tonight, on target. Garnacho put the ball in, and I think Martinez thought he was going to try and score himself. He went down early, and João Pedro has put it in the back of the net. Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 4.
Havertz ball into the Brighton penalty area looking for Saka, didn't get to him. Kadioglu clears. Still Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. We'll check in at Manchester City in a second. Havertz is dragged back. That will be a free kick on the left for Arsenal. John Bennett's watching Manchester City.
Manchester City still 2-1 up against Nottingham Forest, but a penalty appeal for City turned down after a VAR check. The referee didn't give it. It was checked by VAR. VAR didn't give it. Haaland thought he'd been brought down by Sells. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 1.
So as it stands, West Ham moving out of the bottom three, 1-0 up away to Fulham. Manchester City and Arsenal both winning, and Joao Pedro with a hat-trick tonight away to Aston Villa. Chelsea lead by 4-1. Newcastle 0, Manchester United 0. Newcastle down to 10 men, Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. That game kicked at 8 o'clock. Right, Declan Rice hands on hips, waiting to take the Arsenal free kick. Rob Green.
Yeah, there's like 7 players, Brighton in a row, lined up just pretty much on the edge of the 6-yard box. Not one Arsenal player anywhere near them right now.
Whistle blows. Declan Rice pauses, senses the moment. Chance for Arsenal to extend the lead. Ran towards the ball, dummies the free kick. Player down inside the penalty area. Trossard bumped into Kadioglu. Whistle blows again. Rice holds his left arm in the air. In it comes with the right foot towards the far post. Headed up and away. Will drop down inside the Brighton penalty area. Saka brings the ball down and turns away from goal. But it's played back in here. Timber on the turn. Little cutback. Trossard slices it well wide of the target. Penalty at St James's Park. Gary Flintoff.
A penalty that has been dispatched by Anthony Gordon, who burst into the penalty area. He was caught from behind by Bruno Fernandes. He went down, referee pointed to the spot, the VAR agreed. Gordon placed the ball down and has hammered it straight down the middle. Newcastle may be down to 10, but they lead Manchester United by 1-0.
Well. Commentary continues on Sports Extra 3 and will follow here on 5 Live. 15 minutes remaining in this game, and Arsenal slowly creeping towards another win, a third Premier League win in a row after dropping points in the previous games against Brentford and Wolves. Ball is high in the air. Minte tries to play a first-time pass infield. Gross is looking for his run down the left. The ball goes beyond him, out for a throw into Arsenal.
Yeah, he was saying it's got scrappy and tetchy and slow, and it's no surprise that this is probably Arsenal's best spell within the whole game. And you just think they just play at a slower pace at times, don't they? And they've been in no rush this evening. They've been in no rush ever since they scored. But the way that they play, the almost dogged nature of how they're playing right now, is this sort of game suits them all of a sudden.
Christian Norgard waiting to come on for Arsenal at the moment as we move into the last 15 minutes of the 90. Calafiori, long hair flowing behind him as he runs towards the Brighton penalty area. Out to Trossard. He's tackled by Vifa. Throw in for Arsenal. Trossard picks the replacement ball up off the plastic cone, starts to give it a dry, and lobs it towards Calafiori. I think the long one's on here. Calafiori's taking his time, I'll tell you that much. Chris Kavanagh blows the whistle and tells him to hurry up. Back to Manchester City, John Bennett.
Eyes up by Nottingham Forest for Elliot Anderson. Great strike. Curler with his right foot outside the box. It's pandemonium in the away end. Elliot Anderson with the equaliser. Manchester City stunned. Man City 2, Nottingham Forest 2.
Well, it could be mini pandemonium in the away end here at the Amex Stadium in a second, with the Arsenal fans still waiting to react to that goal. Here's Gomez. Gomez with his right foot bringing it forward for Brighton. Arsenal still have the job to do. Gomez gets the cross in beyond Raya. Good header away by Hincapié. Eza miscontrols on the edge of the penalty area. Foot up from Baleba and Eza. The ball breaks to Ruter. Out to the right to Gomez. Crossing towards the far post beyond every Brighton player. Minte sprints, can't keep it in. And that will go out for a throw into Arsenal in the right back position. But as it stands, they'll be extending their lead at the top of the Premier League. Rob, City 2, Nottingham Forest 2, and Arsenal still leading 1-0.
Yeah, you're just feeling that Brighton, since they've made those changes, just the shape, they've just run out of ideas a little bit. They've lost a little bit of impetus within the game. So now I think it's a treble change, isn't it?
It is. Great fun for a commentator. 3 changes for Brighton, 2 for Arsenal. Vifa off to be replaced by Veltman. That's right back for right back. Yassin Ayari, who's missed a few games for Brighton, available again. Missed the last 5 games, is coming on as well. Harry Howe, who I saw play here against Crystal Palace, is 17 years old, is on for Diego Gomez. And Baleba is off. Ayari replaces him. Christian Norgard is still waiting to come on. Chelsea cruising at Villa. Joao Pedro has scored a hat-trick tonight. They are 4-1 up at Aston Villa. So currently in that Premier League table. Manchester United are behind at Newcastle, so they're on 51 in third. Villa on 51 in fourth. Chelsea have moved up to 48 above Liverpool on goal difference, and West Ham, they will be out of the bottom three. No, in fact, they're 28, and Nottingham Forest are on 28, so Forest go above them, having got back level against Manchester City. They go above them on goal difference. Arsenal still leading 1-0, so 5 subs on in the last minute or so. The ball down the left for Minte to chase. He's been a real threat for Brighton since coming on at half-time, causing problems again, crossing, and Raya read that well, goes sliding out to the edge of his 6-yard box, goes down again, thought about staying down for a second there, heard the fans and decided to get himself to his
we would
feet.
have got into comical stages of how many times a goalkeeper can go down injured in one game, but it's good anticipation from Raya. On that left-hand side, he's caused, whoever he's been up against, he's caused problems too since coming on.
Ball played forward for Brighton. Ruter is there, looking for Pascal Gross. Gross can't get to that. Raya clears with his right foot. Another goal at St James's Park, though. Gary Flintoff.
You're going to have to change that table, Ali. Very tasty on Tyneside. Newcastle United down to 10-1. Manchester United 1. A crazy end to the half. Casemiro with the header from Bruno Fernandes. Free kick from the right-hand side. We played 55 minutes in that first half. Half-time whistle is gone. 1-1.
Second half commentary coming your way on 5 Live. Manchester United with the draw have moved to 52, a point above Aston Villa, who are being thumped at home to Chelsea this evening. 12 minutes remaining in this game. Offside flag has gone up against Brighton. In fact, 4 of the 5 subs have been made. The 5th is now being made. Zubimendi is coming off for Arsenal, and Christian Norgard is coming on.
One instruction only: see this game through, Christian, and that is what it is. It's been far from spectacular by Arsenal. I'm not sure the away fans, who just about beginning to hear their voices, aren't we, for the first time in the game, I'm not sure they're really going to care, but far from pretty.
Premier League table as it stands in terms of the title race: Arsenal winning, Manchester City drawing. Arsenal 67, Manchester City 60. City with the game in hand. Saka trying to wriggle his way through inside the Brighton penalty area. They've managed to clear it away with Boscagli, who feels his clearance took a deflection and is absolutely incandescent that the assistant referee hasn't given the decision his way, to the extent that he's had such a go at the assistant referee. Now he's mimicking the old glasses to his eyes, and so Chris Kavanagh comes over and books him for his troubles.
Yeah, you've got to be careful here. He's just got to rein it in, get his head sorted, because it was a Brighton throw. He was right, but at every opportunity within the game, someone's trying to get an edge, someone's falling over, someone's trying to create a contact. So when you appeal for the ball, despite you being right, and as frustrating as it is, the referees and the assistant referees are in an impossible situation.
Yeah, this is nervy and it's edgy at the moment. Arsenal still leading 1-0. Saka's wrestling with Kadioglu. No free kick given either way there. Boscagli now fired up, throws himself into a headed challenge against Havertz. Comes off him, ball goes out for an Arsenal throw. Saka's caught by Kadioglu on the edge of the area. Arsenal have taken the throw. Chris Kavanagh's coming over. He's going to pull another yellow card out. This one's for Kadioglu for the challenge on Saka as he was running into space as Arsenal went to take the throw, and Arsenal will get a free kick just outside the Brighton area.
Absolutely right. Kadioglu knew that Saka was going, knew it was a throw-in, knew he wasn't going to be able to stop him, so just brought him down nowhere near the ball. And this just suits Arsenal to see this through in this manner, how they're playing. I think Brighton have lost shape, lost impetus, lost direction now. They've just got to hold on really to injury time and just keep it at 1-0, because they're in real danger of losing their heads here.
So I thought that was going to be free kick Arsenal for the foul on Saka. We've gone back to the throw-in, which wasn't actually taken.
Yeah, the ball hadn't gone into play.
Okay. Right, now Norgard leaves it for Timber to take, and the Brighton fans again vent their fury that Arsenal are taking their time over the set piece as they lead this game into the last 10 minutes, leading 1-0. The players out there, I'm sure, won't know that it's Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 2. The Arsenal fans might be trying to tell them, and the Brighton fans are telling the referee something else, which you may have picked up on the mics inside the stadium. Timber's lob throw. Norgard jumps. Havertz down inside the penalty area. writhing around in pain. Looks like he was caught on the left angle. Chris Kavanagh is not interested at all, surrounded by Arsenal players. This has got really messy, this game, hasn't it?
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? That you've got Kalioglu just slightly raises his foot and might tap Kai Havertz a little bit. Kai Havertz feels it, goes down, rolls around, and Chris Kavanagh's there going, this is, it's not a penalty. It's contact within the box, but which also doesn't have to be a foul, and it just infuriates everyone.
Get on with it. Havertz trying to bring the ball down, back to goal inside the penalty area. Brighton managed to get it clear. Arsenal fans, if you're concerned, 7.5 minutes plus added time remaining here. Your team is leading 1-0, and Manchester City in this title race being held by Nottingham Forest. That game is 2-2. Commentary on that one over on Sports Extra. West Ham possibly closing in on a vital win down at the bottom. They're leading Fulham by a goal to nil at Craven Cottage. Chelsea 4-1 up at Villa. Half-time at St James's Park. Newcastle 1, Manchester United 1. It's still Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Right, Brighton have got to get on with it to try and get back into this game. That could play into Arsenal's hands. Verbruggen's long ball downfield. Backpedaling is Rice, heads it away. Rutter wins the next header. Rice beaten in the air by the 17-year-old Howe. The offside flag is up, so that will be a free kick for Arsenal. It wasn't the prettiest on Sunday when I saw Arsenal, Rob, not the prettiest tonight, but as you say, the fans, they will not care. No, it's 1-0 to the Arsenal. Back late 80s, early 90s, and this has been a game where they have created so little. Verbruggen hasn't had a save to make other than the one goal, which we arguably should have done better with, and that is it. Manchester City, will be desperately searching for a winner at home against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest desperate for the points down at the other end of the table, involved in the relegation battle as well. Arsenal and Brighton players battling for that ball. Over on Arsenal's left wing, it's gone out for an Arsenal throw. So Premier League table as it stands, down at the bottom. West Ham 18th on 28, Nottingham Forest also on 28, Spurs on 29, Spurs Palace. Our commentary on 5 Live tomorrow night kicks off at 8. Calafiori slings the throw in down the left-hand touchline. Van Hecke clears with his right foot. Calafiori wins the header. Boscagli controls, turns, plays it back to Verbruggen, who had to stretch to control that ball inside his own penalty area. Leaning back, clears it away with his left foot, timbers up to win the header. The ball drops just inside the Brighton half. Nodded forward to Welbeck. Not enough on the pass from Welbeck. Rice got there first. Forward to Trossard, back to Calafiori. Calafiori puts his left foot through the ball. Howell is able to block it. Gabriel is there, heads it away. Rutter tries to control. Rice again there for Arsenal, takes it off him, takes it past him, feeds the ball infield to Trossard. Trossard is chased. He is caught, challenged by Ayari. Free kick for Arsenal. Quality has gone completely from this game, hasn't it? You're looking at Calafiori on the touchline with a throw, just throws it as hard as he can, and there's nothing to say that it was to an Arsenal player. Brighton then get it, and Danny Welbeck tries to play the pass to no one. Declan Rice gets the ball and loses it. It's continual. It's such a difficult game to find any quality in at the minute. They're working hard, but that's about it. Mikel Arteta is just a ball of black-coated tension standing on the side of this pitch at the Amex. We're into the last 5 minutes of the 90, and Arsenal are still leading through the early Saka goal. Rice lobs it forward, it hits Havertz on the back, doesn't know where it's gone, and Van Hecke gets it in the right back position. West Ham closing in on a crucial win. John Southall.
Well, we've played almost 90 minutes here. Fulham 0, West Ham 1. They're hanging on a bit now, though. Emile Smith-Rowe 12 yards out, saved by Hermansen. This would be a massive win for West Ham. Fulham 0, West Ham 1, waiting to see how much added time we have.
It hit Kai Havertz on the back because he was waiting for the contact from the Brighton play. He's there going, hit me, let me fall over, and no one's near him. It's farcical. Yeah, this is low quality at the moment. Arsenal just trying to find a way to get over the line again. Brighton actually started this second half well. As you said, Rob, since the substitutes came on, other than Minte at half-time, they've really lost rhythm and shape. And it's just not been a very good spectacle for the last 20 minutes or so. Gripping nonetheless, because the title race is on, and Manchester City, of course, are 2-2 against Nottingham Forest. So as it stands, dropping points this evening. There won't be long left there either. The ball is played back by Hincapié. Now in the right-back position, of course, for Arsenal. Calafiori on the field on the left. Van Hecke heads it away. First-time ball from Trossard. The flag stays down. Havertz
is free inside the Brighton area. Players trying to get up in support. Havertz shoots to the near post, and it's saved and gone behind, and the flag stays down, so Arsenal will get a corner.
Well, it was one that the defender steps up, and Havertz is onside. Brighton fans are fuming, but he's onside, and that's a big opportunity for Kai Havertz on an angle. It's a tight angle. And that's their second shot on target in the game. In the 88th minute. That's how poor it's been from Arsenal, really, in an attacking sense. That from there, they never really fancied him to score, but that's as good as they've had.
Just 3 away games for Arsenal after this one tonight in the Premier League. First of those at Manchester City mid-April, West Ham away, Palace away on the last day of the season. Right, what have we got? 2 minutes plus added time. Brighton fans in the row in front of us have seen enough. They're on their way home. Brighton 0, Arsenal 1. Rice with the delivery from the corner. Swings it deep to the far post. Verbruggen punches it straight up in the air. Everyone jumps to try and head it away. Trossard scampers after the ball. Can't keep it in play. Comes off his right boot and goes out for a throw into Brighton in the left-back position. We're into the 89th minute of the game. And as it stands, Arsenal leading through the early deflected Saka goal are stretching their lead at the top of the Premier League tonight because Manchester City are being held at home by Nottingham Forest. Are we going to get more late drama in the Premier League this evening? And do not miss the commentary tomorrow night. That will be racked with tension at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Van Hecker's ball is blocked. Boscagli quickly whips it out to the right-hand side. Here's the 17-year-old Howell onto his left foot. Crosses over the bar and behind for the goal kick to Arsenal. Had Raya thinking for a second, but they knew he had it covered. Goal kick Arsenal.
I don't know how many games I played in my career. It must have been about 800, I think, but I remember about 5 from that. I don't know whether the Arsenal players will remember this game. I don't know whether the fans will remember it, but they'll remember the night when they beat Brighton and Manchester City didn't beat Manchester and didn't beat Nottingham Forest. The occasion might outweigh the game here tonight.
Absolutely, Rob Green, well called. Manchester City, Nottingham Forest, live on Sports Extra, is 2-2. John Bennett has been keeping us updated on that. Saka tries to turn a ball infield in an attacking position for Arsenal. Norgard wins a tackle, but the ball breaks for Brighton. 90th minute of the game, so we're now waiting for the 4th official David Webb to put the board up. Saka's goal in the 9th minute at the moment, settling this one at the Amex. FA Cup football starts on Friday night. Arsenal away to Mansfield on Saturday. Manchester City will play Newcastle at St James's Park on Saturday night. That'll be a 5 Live commentary at 8 o'clock. 7 minutes of added time. Saka trying to get away down the right, knocks the ball past Kadioglu, but doesn't have the pace to get round him, pick it up the other side. Kadioglu gets it back to Verbruggen.
Absolutely shattered. Saka knocked it past him.
Welbeck penalised here for a foul on Gabriel, chasing a long ball down the middle of the field and now getting involved in a little bit of argy-bargy with Hincapié. Let's take you to the Etihad Stadium. Are Manchester City piling the pressure on? John Bennett.
At the moment, it's Nottingham Forest piling the pressure on. 7 minutes added on here. It's still 2-2, and Ryan Yates has just headed wide for Nottingham Forest from a corner, but it's Man City on the attack now. 6 minutes of the added time to go. Man City 2, Nottingham Forest 2.
7 minutes added time apiece in the title race, and Arsenal, as it stands, stretching their lead to 7 points at the top. West Ham on 28 in the bottom 3. Nottingham Forest just ahead of them on goal difference, 2-2 at Manchester City. West Ham 1 up at Fulham, and Spurs just above them on 29. Saka's tackled inside the Brighton area by Veltman. Last touch has come off. Saka, Saka was being hauled to his feet by Veltman. Saka didn't like it. He threw out a left arm, and we'll have to see what the referee Chris Kavanagh and the other officials and those at Stockley Park make of this. Saka lost his cool briefly there.
Let's get up and get on with it. There's nothing doing, really. How Veltman, you can understand why. Saka just puts his hands up on Veltman and he trips over his foot. But it's one, you can understand the frustration of Veltman. You can understand that Saka's actually been tackled pretty hard. So just get up and get on.
All about the result, not the performance, particularly in the second half, this one. Arsenal leading 1-0 at Brighton. Taking you to Pittodrie shortly. Big game in the Scottish Premiership title race tonight for Celtic there. Last we heard it was 1-1. Let's see what Brighton can do with this. Ball is played to Pascal Gross in the centre circle. He speeds space on the right. Van Hecke lets that ball go by. Howell collects it, chased by Calafiori. Ayari with a neat pass out to the right here to Van Hecke, gets that cross in. Hincapié heads it away. Rice flicks the header on. It drops here to Ayari, and then Boscagli plays it straight back into his own half to Veltman. Brighton need to get it forward quickly. 7 minutes of added time being played. 2.5 of those minutes have gone. Arsenal fans going through the agonies here. Minte's cross with his right foot, looking for Howell, hits Calafiori on the head. Gabriel heads it away. Eza flicks it over his right shoulder, down on the floor. No free kick. Brighton will recycle and go again, with Arsenal still leading 1-0. And Manchester City still 2-2 against Nottingham Forest. Van Hecke being encouraged by the Brighton fans to bring the ball forward. Lays it off to the right to Howell. Howell onto his left foot, back to Ayari. Ayari inside right channel, plays it wide to the right-hand side. Now the cross comes in. Pascal Gross's left foot delivers that. Timber leaps, heads it away. Minte watches it bounce in front of him over on the left wing. Up against 2 Arsenal defenders. Wants to take them on. Creeps his way down to the byline. Timber's on the floor. Knocks the ball away, but only as far as Kadioglu. Cross in, Raya punches it away. Only as far as the edge of the area. Ayari with a little trick. Then Van Hecke gets it. Pass deflected nearly into the path of Rutte. Keeps that in play and works it out to Minte on the left. Minte goes running at Timber again. Skins him. Tries to stand the ball up. Hincapié gets in the way and heads it away. And again, Brighton come again. Cross in. Kadioglu. This one's headed by Trossard, only as far as Welbeck. Welbeck's pass misplaced, and this could be the chance for Arsenal to kill it as they bring it away with Havertz. He's clipped, and down he goes. Free kick for Arsenal. Yellow card for Ayari. Goal at Pittodrie, Kenny Crawford.
67 minutes gone, Aberdeen 1, Celtic 2. He's only been on the pitch a couple of minutes, but Benjamin Nygren, the Swede, has got his 19th goal of the season. A low cross by James Forrest, and he just stuck out his left leg and poked it into the bottom left-hand corner. They are checking for a possible offside, but if it stands, it'll be Aberdeen 1, Celtic 2.
OK, we'll check in back for that one. Back to Manchester City, John Bennett.
It's still 2-2, Man City 2, Forest 2. Free kick to Man City, who've had another penalty appeal turned down. Anderson's challenge on Rodri. Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 2.
2.5 minutes to play here. Arsenal leading by a goal to nil. Gabriel with a free kick just inside his own half. Swung out to the right. Havertz heads it across to Trossard. Brings it down. Tries to hit the shot first time. Howell gets a foot on it. Plays it to Ayari. Little risk taken by him inside his penalty area. And works it out to Harry Howell on the right-hand side. Rice has it covered again for Arsenal. Plays it down the left wing. Ayari clears with his right foot first time. Gabriel waits for it to bounce. Welbeck jumps with him. Where's that going to drop? Drops here for Norgard, lobs it away to the right. Saka jumps with Kadioglu. Kadioglu beats him, gets it back to Verbruggen. What are you making of this, Rob?
Yeah, they're edging closer and closer, aren't they? And you just feel that they've just set up. Norgard sat in front of the defence and going, it's going anywhere. I mean, we barely mentioned Declan Rice on the ball, and every time he does, he just boots it as far as he can. Arsenal in the trenches now. They don't care.
Yeah. What have we got left now? 90 seconds. It's minute by minute, pass by pass, tackle by tackle, clearance by clearance. Arsenal slowly heading towards another Premier League win. Another step taken towards a first Premier League title in 22 years. Minte down, fouled by Timber, long way from the Arsenal goal, heading towards the last minute of added time. Chelsea 4-1 up at Villa, Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 2 in terms of the title race. West Ham still 1 up at Fulham, Newcastle 1, Manchester United 1 at St James's Park at half-time. What can Brighton do with the free kick? Nerves jangling for Arsenal fans up and down the country if you're listening to us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Pascal Gross from deep towards the edge of the box, headed into the Arsenal area. Hincapié powers a header away. Kadioglu takes a touch, takes it wide of Calafiori. Trossard tried to catch him, couldn't get there. Kadioglu wide right, now crosses it in and behind, and that will go out for the Arsenal goal kick. Full-time whistle is blown at Craven Cottage. John Southall.
Big win for West Ham. Fulham 0, West Ham 1. The goal from Crescencio Somerville, an error from Leno. He was caught outside his area. Bowen played in Somerville and he finished it off. Fulham laboured tonight. Emile Smith-Rowe denied late on by Hermansen. As it stands, West Ham still in the bottom 3, but a significant win this. Fulham 0, West Ham 1.
Yeah, that's because it's Forest 2, City 2 at the Etihad. So West Ham 28, Forest 28. Forest goal difference 4 better than West Ham. Nightmare for Spurs fans at home to Palace tomorrow night. They're on 29 points, Leeds on 31. Closing seconds of the game, that's it! Arsenal have got another win in the bank. Not pretty, scored early, deflected shot from Bukayo Saka, barely threatened Brighton's goal after that. But the big news for them tonight is the full-time whistle has blown here. They've won, and Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 2 is the latest scoreline we have had from the Etihad Stadium. They may well stretch their lead tonight, Rob.
Yeah, grit, determination, willingness and good fortune. Absolutely minimal quality on the ball from Arsenal, just full of heart. You're looking away to our right-hand side. The Arsenal fans do not care one jot. They know the score at the Etihad. The cheer goes up now. I think they know it's full time.
That's what that must be here at the Amex. That's the biggest roar of the night, other than the Saka goal we've had from the Arsenal fans. But you can see those red and white scarves are twirling. They know their team is not at their best at the moment. Didn't need a set piece to win the game tonight. Didn't create much from open play. The question is, Rob, can they keep going like that? 8 games to go, 7-point lead at the top of the table, City with the game in hand.
They can keep playing badly and winning all they like, and it's the others that are faltering. Manchester City are faltering, and you just look at this Arsenal side, how they go about winning games, and they manage to just grind out results, and that's all they've done tonight. They got the stroke of good fortune. There's not one player that can turn around and say, I had a great game, other than maybe Hincapié and 1 or 2 others defensively. Other than that, there's so little. They don't care. They won.